Hello, buddies. How's everybody doing? This is crazy. Um, I feel really good about this. I'm just gonna get that out of the way now because if it goes downhill, I don't want anybody to know except for me. Um, so I just need everybody to know to start that we've already taken some L's this evening with over half of our cast having L names. So feel free to roast them in the chat for that all evening. That sounds great. It's just gonna do nothing but mess me up. So if I mess up anybody's name, I am apologizing in advance. But just to do the announcements, because Scribe has blessed me with the announcements today, I would just like to say that we have a merch store. So if you've exhausted all of your friends' ears to tell them about us, why not quell your hunger for entertainment with an Indigo Chameleon shower curtain? You know, it just really gets us in the spirit. And I know this sucks, but there's no Strahd for us this Sunday as we make space for America's favorite excuse for snacks, the old Super Bowl. Also, if you want to have a hand in the shenanigans that happen on screen or just be surrounded by wonderful, wholesome folks, join our Discord. Everybody's welcome for the chaos. And with that, I think I want to introduce everybody just real quick here. We've got Damien. Damien plays with me on Is Friday's channel. Damien, are you working with anything else right now? I don't think so, but just projects, general fun stuff you want to share at all?
For me?
For you.
I am currently streaming or trying to stream. I'm currently streaming at Domasaur, on Twitch TV. I'm also trying to develop a campaign that's set in the Edo period of Japan. Once I eventually do have that, I'm going to try and stream that with a little bit more of a similar to thing what goes on here, maybe even on here since they have a great community here, and we get to troll all the players. So that's all I'm working on so far.
Perfect. Alrighty. Alex, I know for sure you definitely have some stuff going on, so you can go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Alex. You can find me on Tuesdays. Well, actually, we're about to go on hiatus, but we have our last episode of Empire of the Ghouls on Kobold Press's Twitch channel this Tuesday coming up, and then we're going on a bit of a hiatus until some undisclosed time. You can also find me on Sundays, again, once Thrones and Bones starts back up, also on Is Friday's channel. And I swear this is happening. I'm not just like making this up, but I know I've been saying it for like 2 months. But you will also be able to find me on a D&D musical theater improv podcast as soon as we get enough episodes filmed, recorded, and we get like a solid backlog. Also, currently, right now, you can find me doing a stint on Jousting Through Jacinto. That's Maz's podcast, and I'm having a great time on there. So I'm ready to have a great time with another new group. I'm super excited.
Good. Maz, you want to talk about your podcast? I think that's a good segue.
It's hard to lead up a musical improv podcast. But I'll try my best. So episode 1 of season 2 of Jousting Through Jacinto went up, I believe, yesterday. The team had some hiatus to work on a couple things. Our barbarian got smarter. Our paladin went on a little quest. Our rogue and our warlock started a cult. So typical stuff. So feel free, come hang out with us. Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, where you can find it. That's Jousting Through Jacinto.
Perfect. Alrighty, Scribe, Indigo, do you guys have anything you want to share?
Tune into this channel. We do stuff on this channel. No.
I know that's weird, me giving you guys the the baton.
I'm really excited. I have been playing D&D and doing a lot of the DM stuff. I just realized Chef Aladeth bought me a Bless for a sesh, and it was the first time anything has ever been purchased for me as a player. So it was just very sweet. So I'm having this little like moment. It was great. Thank you.
That's so cute. Okay, well, thank you, Chef Aladeth. That's amazing. I'm so happy to be here for that. Just that. That's great. Scribe, thank you for your bits. That's incredible.
We were
I
so
can't believe
close to a hype train,
it.
and I really want that emoji for everybody now. So whatever the new emoji is.
Yay. Wow. Okay. Well, just to give everybody a little bit of a background on what we're doing today, we're playing a CandleKeep mystery adventure, and it is supposed to be a two-shot depending on what these players do this evening. Everybody is level 16. So we've got a pretty high-powered cast here today, and this is a mystery. So I've told everyone, please take notes, please pay attention. If anybody in the chat wants to remind anybody of anything, players feel free to cheat in the chat a little bit. I want everybody to feel included. This is a really fun world. You guys have all been called here for the same purpose. And I'll just give everybody the same Discord message that I sent out, so everybody has a little bit of a background on what's going on right now for this mystery. So a fungal plague is ravaging the Sword Coast, spreading quickly from one settlement to the next. And although magic has proven effective at ridding individuals of the spore infection, the plague is still spreading too quickly to contain. So creatures that become infected, they fall ill with a fever, and they sprout disgusting, gooey, fungal growths before losing their entire autonomy, and they start acting like zombies. These people are definitely all around CandleKeep right now towards the Sword Coast. You can pick them out of a crowd, no problem. So everybody knows about this problem. You guys have all come to CandleKeep specifically for this problem. It is not hard to tell that this is a huge deal right now. And actually, eventually, the plague has reduced all the infected creatures and the foodstuffs here to puddles of ooze. So until you guys get a little bit deeper into the source of this problem, there's going to be a lot of sticky residue on your journey here.
My favorite kind.
Yeah. So what's currently happening are, you can tell someone is infected with the plague because they drone the word Xanthoria over and over for no reason before death finally claims them. So you guys, while you're entering CandleKeep here, even in the distance, you guys can probably hear the word Xanthoria being droned over and over and over again by, we're talking probably hundreds of individuals, if not thousands. So there is a very eerie presence in CandleKeep right now. Everybody is on edge. And I did tell everyone the entrance fee into CandleKeep so that you guys can solve this problem is giving a book to the Avowed, which is the group of people that take care of the CandleKeep library and make sure that everybody entering has good intent. So, if we can start, if anybody wants to start in particular, I think this is a good opportunity for everybody to introduce themselves and present their book to the Avowed so they can enter the library. So, does anybody want to go first? Or should I pick someone?
You should pick someone.
That sounds fun.
Damien, you spoke last. You get to go.
Alrighty, so am I already at the person?
So you guys are all, I think I've described this before as everybody is walking up a long staircase, with the library being at the top of the staircase, and there are two Avowed, the folks that are taking your books, at the top of the staircase, and one of them just holds out a hand. So if you could just give me your name, kind of what you look like, what book you're handing over.
Hello. Name's Lophus von Godwin. You might have heard of me. So, as you can see, I am quite tall. I measure about 6 foot tall. You don't seem that tall. So, obviously, I'm a wonder to look at. Also, I'm wearing nice, fancy adamantine armor. Pretty fancy. Anyways, here is your book that you requested. You requested a book that you do not have, and I know you do not have this since I wrote this myself. It is called Enain Ite Ix, The Art of Speaking Backwards. I'll go ahead and let you read it. Preferably not right now, I do need to get in. Does this suffice?
The gnome that you have just been talking down to this entire time, describing yourself in depth, holds out a very small hand and looks up at you, takes the book without breaking eye contact, and just slips it into the bag at his side before still remaining eye contact with you and opening up the door next to him without saying a word.
Thank you. I hope that some more awesome party members. Sorry, members do arrive. And I will walk in.
All right. I'm gonna pick on Moz next.
Oh, okay. So Leon, as a 6'1", 6'2", he's a hexblood. He has a kind of a dark purplish skin. He's got a bone crown across his forehead. He's got studded leather armor and a rather large wicked crossbow on his back, a heavy crossbow on his back. He walks up the stairs and goes to the Avowed and goes, so tickets to entry, yes, tickets. And he'll hand the book, and the book is why AB negative when you can be O positive to Heliocraft's Guide to Living.
This goblin avowed is struggling not to smile right now as he, same thing, direct eye contact, takes your book, puts it in his bag at his side, and tries not to fall over because this bag is getting pretty heavy today. The line's fairly long to get into the library. And he opens the door for you and you're allowed to go in.
He'll do a slight nod, and you'll see another one coming up here. You can't miss him. You'll know. Just tell him he can come in, and he'll walk in.
Okay. Are two of you know each other, don't you? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Scribe. I want to picture this like he just completely talked you up and you're just kind of a shadow behind him. Like he doesn't really have to wait. You're just there. Like he's waiting.
Yeah. A human male, quite an ordinary sort. Skinny, commonplace, nothing to report. His glasses are clean, a satchel at his side, a veritable genius with a monster inside. He keeps the beast at bay behind its cage, a monster of strength and unmitigated rage. To the library he's called, so he answers the summons. He's wary and careful and mindful of run-ins. He brings the library an offering, a method to try, a guidebook he's read and tried to memorize. A man in green makeup in front of some sort of hangar, the Lou Ferrigno story, My Journeys with Anger.
The goblin in front of you is just weeping. Oh my gosh. For anybody who doesn't know, that's what I do. And I am actually crying right now, so that's a good way to start the session. That was so good, buddy.
Did he just mother of cats?
I've been mocatsed for sure. I've been out mocats I think. Yeah, this guy at the front door cannot open the door fast enough for you, and he bows as he takes your book. You are more than welcome inside.
I bow and then trip a tiny bit over nothing at all into the library.
I'll say there was a teeny tiny pebble. How about that?
That's
less embarrassing.
Thank you for that.
All right, Indigo, you want to go?
Not really. I don't want to follow that, but I will. Because I don't have a rhyme. So someone who's a little short for a furbolg, she's about 5'4" or so, comes in green fur, a little awkward looking. And she walks up and she says, hello, I actually also brought a book that I wrote. I've written a lot. There is another copy of this. It's in the library Inspire. It's my library, not Inspired. It's in the town of Spire. Anyway, the book is Botanical and Zoological Life in the Winter Realm and Practical Applications for Your Apothecary. Because I actually spent a bit of time in the Winter Realm. It's a long story. Anyway, does this book work for you?
Yeah, I suppose we accept pre-written literature from a person. That's fine.
I have fully illustrated it. All of the illustrations are mine as well. There is some color, not a lot. I mean, sometimes it's a bit excessive to. Anyway, never mind. Thank you.
I'm imagining that he's trying to take it out of your hand, but you won't quite let go. So
yeah, we accept this. Come on.
Thank you. Just
you finally,
in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
all right.
Fine.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Alex, go ahead, buddy.
Another human male standing at about 5'9" trudges along the line, hooded and face covered, wearing dark clad leather armor, with piercing green eyes and just like spindly, kind of scraggly black hair. Pulls out a little leaflet from his rucksack and hands it over, and the title reads Aerodynamics and Dragon Riding, Shooting Straight While Winging It. And says, Oi, I wrote mine too. Figured it'd be good enough. Got it illustrated and everything.
Yeah, that's fine. I have to tell you, though, if you do have a dragon on you and it happens to defecate in the building, that's your problem.
Now, look here. My princess would never do that, alright? My princess is a sweet little dragon, and she would never defecate unless she really, really had to.
This gentleman side-eyes you, looks at the no pets allowed except for service animals sign on the door, looks back at your dragon, and looks you dead in the eyes and opens the door, but is visibly shivering at the sight of your drake.
Alright, princess, it's a tight squeeze, so just make yourself small as possible and we'll shimmy right on in. Thank you, sir. And he's gonna make his way in as this ice white large drake trails behind him very slowly and begrudgingly, but all the same follows.
All right. So with that, everybody is safely inside. Just once again for chat, thank you all for being here. Your current job is in your purpose in being in CandleKeep as you guys all walk into this magnificent library. It is tall, it is grand, it is pristine chapel style, ornate. It probably has more books than any of you have seen in your entire lives combined. It's kind of strange though, because there's a lot of happenings going on the shelves. You can tell that there are a lot of magical books here. So there's probably some icicles dripping down from a book that's up on the top shelf as you first walk in, from probably some kind of ice novel. There's some smoke billowing out of a book to your left as you walk in. Clearly something about fire. It's probably going to take out that entire bookshelf. But the librarian that is currently face down, badonkadonk up behind the front desk, she doesn't seem to be paying it any mind. This probably happens all the time. And then clearly in the back, there's a restricted section where everything is locked up, nice and tight. So as you guys walk in, you are definitely a sight to behold. You're probably walking in within 5 minutes of each other, so everybody immediately notices the drake. We're talking everybody currently inside, everybody who has just walked in from outside. And as the crowd is it's slowing down a bit now that you guys have walked in and folks have seen the drake walking inside. They're probably a little bit scared to join you. So I would say folks are probably just going to come back another day after you guys walk in. But the second you get in there, the librarian pops up from behind the front desk. Oh, hello, everybody. My name's Gertrude. If you need anything, I am here to help. Just so you know, though, I can't really leave this space. Unfortunately, I have a bed in my office, but it's not really old lady friendly. And I have explained this character before as having the butt from the mom robot from
Aunt
Robots.
Fanny.
Aunt
Fanny.
Oh my gosh, what a pull.
So
Sweetheart, really is.
yeah. So she, carefully adjusts her little librarian, doesn't say her name, Gertrude, it just says librarian, on her desk, and goes back to rummaging through files below the desk area. Are any of you guys going and in search of anything? You know that you're looking for this book. Are you perusing for a couple of minutes? Is anybody approaching the drake?
Yeah, it is a very nice drake. I would sort of interpose myself behind Leon, Just sort of like, I just want to. Very nice, but just make sure that I'm looking over Leon's shoulder at the drake. But there are definitely books I want to search for. I'm very interested in the word that everyone is saying because I can't figure out what it is. And so Xanthoria or Xanthora.
It's Xanthoria.
This is Xanthoria. I'm hard pressed to do investigating and trying to find the origins of that particular word.
Mm-hmm. Is everybody else doing the same thing?
I would be going to the person who just introduced herself to us as the librarian, the head librarian. So I would like to speak with her.
Okay. Before this happens, does anybody else have anything they would like to do?
I'm squatted down and have tried to make eye contact with the dragon and just going like, just trying to be inviting and looking at the ranger if she wants to.
Oh, my princess is a real sweet doll, aren't you, princess? And then you hear the dragon just kind of sigh. Please stop calling me that. Oh, princess, she has a bit of a thing for not being called princess, and I get it, but it's kind of like our cutesy little thing. I'm a noble creature of great intelligence. I have a name. Right, I'm sorry, princess. It's just I've been calling you princess so long, I've kind of forgotten about it. Look, we'll get you a snack. We'll get you all settled right away, and that'll help you forget, right? I do love snacks. Oh, no, you do. And he kind of pats her on the head. But thank you.
This is my new best friend right now. Like, Leon is occupied with the dragon for a little bit.
I do need to know from a DM standpoint, can everyone hear princess?
I believe so. It does say companions. I don't know if we'd consider ourselves companions, but
we're not Drake official yet. Like,
the Drake has to take its time to warm up to you.
That's
but
fair. You know what?
So,
Yeah.
The Drake does speak Draconic.
The Drake does speak Draconic.
And if you do speak Draconic, which of course Lofus does know Draconic, then people can communicate or hear you openly communicate with your Drake.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking
Okay.
of which, Lofus would love to go and commune with the Ranger and the lovely Princess Drake.
Okay.
What?
Are you guys just kind of hanging out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you addressing Gertrude?
Yes,
Or what-
Gertrude.
okay.
Yes. Hello. My name is Thoe Sar. You can call me Thoe. My friends call me Thoe, but I know we're not friends yet, but we could be because I'm also a librarian. I have a library. I mean, also an apothecary. They're connected. They're next to each. I'm usually in the apothecary. Anyway, I had 2 questions for you.
On her way up from under the desk, her head bonks, and she goes, "Oh, silly me!" And she has to go and pick up her glasses. So you just get full rump. So you're speaking to full librarian Badonkadonk for a second.
I'm trying to turn my head down so that it matches where her head is, so that
she's adjusting her glasses as she comes up to meet your gaze. What can I do for you, dear?
Yes. Well, I had 2 questions. First of all, it's probably the least important, but that's okay. So first of all, I noticed that you have a restricted section, and although every fiber of my being wants to go into the restricted section right now because it's the restricted section of the library, I felt like it was important for me to ask permission first, before I just walked on in there. But I'm really hoping you say yes.
So unfortunately, and I hate to tell you this, dear, because you certainly seem the most kind, but that section is specifically reserved for folks who have brought books in here that haven't been cataloged yet. So as you can probably tell, and she gestures to like the icy section, the flaming section, folks who come in here with books that aren't categorized correctly, and she just gulps, tend to cause more problems than they're worth. So I would rather not have anybody back there unless you sign an NDA. And unfortunately, I cannot make my way over to the copier today. I've had a little bit too much juice.
Okay. I'll find a solution to this. You're okay as long as I don't tell anybody what's there. Also, I brought in a book, and I don't believe it's cataloged because I wrote it.
Oh, I mean, probably not. But if you just brought it in today, the folks outside that have bags of holding, they're probably in there.
Got
Nothing
it.
has been brought in yet today.
Great. So I did bring in a book that hasn't been cataloged. That's all I needed to know. Thank you. Okay. The other question that I had was that we are investigating this terrible, terrible plague. And I was hoping that you might have some information about where I could find some information. I said information twice. Anyway, on this plague. I mean, do you have books that might be of use for one who is trying to help with this pandemic?
So it's funny that you would say that because I actually do have one book in particular on the saphophonic plague. It's actually by a very specific individual called Xanthoria. You know, the incessant droning that you've probably heard around town. It is just absolutely the best. And you can tell that her eyes are just becoming bloodshot and her knuckles are getting white. As she's thinking about it. I haven't been outside in weeks. I absolutely hope that you folks are here to take care of it because I am absolutely at my wit's end. And she's just looking at you with pleading in her eyes. Fortunately for you, I just saw her around here somewhere today. Her name is Zelith Lightleaf, I believe it is. And she's actually the one that brought us the book. Yeah, she says that she was expecting some folks that she called to CandleKeep to take care of the issue. So if you just look around for Zelith, she probably disappeared around here somewhere. I haven't seen her leave. No one has gone out yet today. So just peruse the shelves a little bit and maybe look for her. That'd probably be a good place to start.
Oh, okay. And the book is called Xanthoria?
Yes. Yeah, Xanthoria.
Okay. And could you describe Zelith at all to me? What she looks like?
She's a wood elf. You know, she's a little crass, but you'll love her once you meet her. She actually is a member of the Ovode, you know, the folks that you gave your books to outside today.
Yeah.
She's a part of the organization, so she knows an awful lot about all the books in here. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, especially the uncategorized ones. Yes, got it. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Very much.
She's a professional. Mm-hmm. And she just immediately ducks back down like a duck going underwater, back to her filing.
Okay.
Amazing.
I'm off to look for this wood elf. All right.
I would say at this point, everyone heard that. Gertrude's voice definitely reverbs through this entire building. So if anyone would like to talk to Thoe, about, you know, the conversation that just happened, feel free to go amongst yourselves.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I think would he be in the stacks already? Dr. Jekyll, like, is he already? Because I think he went off looking for books. Would that have carried to the rest of the library as well?
Oh, it's everywhere.
Okay, cool.
The woman's loud.
He will start heading back then if he's had no luck finding anything.
You got that right, Jack?
This
is your whole field of work.
Yes, this is the whole area is fantastic. But Thoe, wasn't it?
Yes.
Hi. You're here to help with the plague issue as well.
Yes, Dr. Jackal?
Yes. Yes. Or Jack. Leon calls me Jack, but that's sort of a Leon thing.
So don't do it.
No. Well, it's up to you. Completely. If we're being formal, we don't have to be formal. I don't know what I'm saying.
Is this formal?
No, it's not.
Okay.
You sir, with the Drake. I'm sorry.
What? Yeah. Oh, more name.
Yes.
Lambricht.
Lambricht.
Right.
And the rather tall individual behind you. Are you here for the plague issue as well?
Yes, I am. I am here for the plague issue that is unsolvable, it seems.
Right, well, not anymore, because I'm on the case. So, if you're looking to solve this thing, follow me.
There's
I
a
will
book.
gladly follow you.
No. Let's see where this goes. He like puts his hand on Joey. He goes, "Hold on. Let's see where this goes. Hold on. I want to see how this plays out."
Okay.
And he takes a minute to kind of like, he starts sniffing the air. And then he just walks back into the shelves. He has no idea where he's going, very clearly. He's heading back towards the bookshelves, just not looking for the person intended, just looking for books.
So now that we have that cleared up, so you were saying something.
Yes. There is a person named Zelith Lightleaf who brought a book, and the book is called Xanthoria, which is the thing that everybody's saying out there, and it's about this plague. So all we have to do is find Zelith, who is a wood elf, by the way, and we might get some more information.
From the distance, you hear, "Why didn't you leave with that?
You said you had it
all the way-"
covered.
Well, okay, look, so I was going to do some preliminary sniffing about, see what I could find, but if there was already preliminary sniffing about done, I figure you could have saved me some steps.
We just wanted to make sure we had the right lead.
All right,
I mean, the
fair
books
enough.
do smell wonderful.
That's for sure. Better than the mud and muck and mire, but that's just my opinion.
Right. Okay. How big is this library? Is this something where if we were looking for somebody kind of among the stacks, we would find somebody pretty quickly, or is this like a massive, intricate?
I will say the farther back you go, the farther back it seems to extend. It's one of those situations. This is very much like a Twilight Zone. If you go to where you're looking for something.
Okay.
As we're walking in my best like library whisper, I'm gonna be going, Zelith! Zelith, Lightleaf! Zelith!
I will say... Continue.
Oi! Zelith! We're looking for you. So if you mind coming out, saying hello, we can have a bit of a gab, and then we can see what's going on with all these mushroom folk.
You guys don't notice it at first, but the other guests in the library are slowly starting to file out after seeing this very large man with a very large voice and his dragon, along with someone who has instantly befriended the librarian, are just going on a rampage throughout the shelves trying to find someone. So you guys very quickly become the only people in this library for the day.
As Thory and Lambrecht start yelling throughout the library, as people leave, I will start putting their books back, just to make less work. Just because I tend to do that for fun. So I will pick up books that have just been left behind on sort of tables and things, and replace them on the shelves.
Okay, so Scribe, give me a perception check for Dr. Jackal, please.
Oh, all right. It's not my highest. Let's see. A 15, a spicy 15.
Listen, that's enough. You see, while you're putting books away, you are close enough to the section with the books that are grossly on fire at this point. The smoke that is billowing out is turning green.
That's not a good sign. Excuse me, everyone. Leon, the books are on.
Yes.
The books are on fire. The books are on fire, and there's green smoke coming from the books.
I need to start rescuing books. Anything that's around the books on fire, I need to pull off the shelves and put on the table. I can't just sit there and let them catch on fire.
Okay.
At this point, how big are the flames on the book pile?
It is a 4-foot wide section of books, and it extends all the way to the cathedral ceiling. It is a lot of books that are starting to catch on fire.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. He's just grabbing things.
Do a blood thing. Can you do a blood thing?
Maybe.
Right.
No, crazy.
Right.
So
What's
Can I use-
blood thing?
Druidcraft. I can put out a campfire. I can put out a campfire with Druidcraft.
I will
So if I
say
can
the
put out a
fire.
campfire.
The fire is big enough it does not go out, but you are able to locate the one book where the green smoke is coming out of. You've located that book. The flames part for just enough of a second that you can see which book it is.
Okay.
I don't want to put my hand in the fire. Please don't let me put my hand in the fire.
All right, I'll take care of this. Oi, princess, do your thing. Everyone move away. And is there any way to have Princess use her breath attack, her ice breath attack, to put out the flames?
That's great. How close is everyone?
Behind the dragon.
He did tell them to move away before.
Okay. Before everybody moves away, there is not a heat coming off of this flame.
Oh.
It is terrifying to look at, but anybody who gets within 10 feet, there is not that campfire heat coming at you.
Oh.
Can I make like a history check to see if I know if something along those lines would cause those kind of things?
Sure, Blood Hunter, go ahead.
Fantastic. Not with an 8.
I would like to assist him
Thank God.
with this history check and think
Go
of all the
for it.
times that I have heard of fire books that don't put out.
Not with
Nope,
an 8.
not with an 8. How far up is the smoking book? The green smoking book?
About 6 feet. It's not that high up.
I will grab it. I will just take the fire. Like I will. I'm hoping it doesn't burn me, but I am just going to take the green smoking book off of the.
Can I just dispel that magical effect off the book with dispel magic, like the flame effect?
I will say, before you can try, while Dr. Jackal has this thing in his hand, it expands a little bit and mushrooms with your hands. You're a barbarian. You're a very nature-inspired person. You're very intelligent. The book can tell that. So it starts to sprout mushrooms around the binding. It doesn't get, hot. It doesn't stop spewing the green smoke or anything like that, but it seems to be happy in your hands. And as you're holding it, do you open it at all?
The books are meant to be opened. Of course, I opened it, especially when it starts responding in mushrooms.
But what happened to the mimic? We already crossed that bridge.
What are the odds of me grabbing my 7th mimic, Leon? Come now.
Okay. So as you open up the book, you can see on the front page it says Xanthoria. And from behind everybody, dusting off a long cloak, long pointed ears, gold tattoos, strangely red nose for some reason, and jet black hair, this wood elf dressed all in green and brown comes out, kind of dusting herself off, clearly coming from the restricted section. And you see she bears the same emblem as the Avowed from outside. And she looks up at you, holding the book, Dr. Jackal. Oh, hi! Looks like you found the book. Good for you. Name's Zelith. You might have heard from me by the librarian. She's a wonderful woman, isn't she?
Yes. Leaf, right? So that is the book. That is Xanthoria.
Sure is.
Well, that was a lucky find.
Yeah, it tends to know when it's in the presence of greatness, so you might have done something right, but I don't mean to make your head big, Mr. And she's looking at you, Dr. Jackal.
It's not Mister. It's Doctor. Dr. Jackal. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
My mistake.
Lambrick's gonna turn to Leon and say, "Oh, he's one of those blokes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The one who gets hung up on titles and whatnot."
I'd like you to tell him otherwise.
I might. I'm
You
a
do
pretty
that.
brash kind of guy, and he kind of
You
like...
do that. I'll be
just-
over here, and you tell me how that goes for you.
We're 35 minutes in and there's PvP. Okay. All right. I'm prepared. I mean, are you doing anything further with the book, Dr. Jackal, or do you have something else to take care of?
No. I would very much like to go and move to the next area that doesn't have flames, non-heat putting out or otherwise, and sort of flip through the book to see if we can discern any information about this plague. But I would sort of gesture for the group, since we appear to be the only people now left in the library after the yelling and the flames and the dragon, and just sort of say that I'm going to open the book and sort of look through it.
I will nudge him subtly towards the table that's as close to the restricted section as possible to look at this book.
Oh.
And also, where does Zelith go? Does Zelith go back into the restricted section or somewhere else?
Zelith is there to like help you guys. She brought the book in, so she's
nice.
the expert here. That's what the librarian said. So yeah, she actually waves a hand and she goes, "You know, you had the right idea, my friend. That was just some druid crafts of my own, but I have a little bit of CandleKeep magic on my side. So it's meant to keep outsiders out, you know, insiders in. You guys are clearly insiders. So I think we're ready to go. I have a table in the back. You know, I saw you looking at the restricted section. I've got eyes everywhere. Just so you know, it's all right. I was the same before I joined the Avowed. I can give you an application and towards the end of the day if you'd like. You can come.
That'd be great. Mm-hmm. Wait, and I say in Druidic, are you a druid too?
You know, I'm unfortunately just a sage, but I dabble in a little bit of druid. Yes, I do. I don't like to talk about it so much. So would she have said
that back in Druidic, or would she have not said that?
She could have, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's like asking someone if they speak Spanish and they respond in Spanish, no.
It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's fine. But yeah, do you guys all join her at the table?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. I shall join.
Please, what's a treat to have an author read the book to us or share facets of how they picked the font. Oh, that's wonderful. Please.
Would you like the chair that sits next to her?
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Leon. Thank you. I very much would appreciate that. This is very good. And
oh, not to stop you, but I don't want you to think that you're in the presence of greatness. I'm just the keeper of the book, you know? I actually, you know, I brought it from outside. I am nothing special. Trust me. But it's okay, though, because I do know the author. She's a little bit, worse for wear these days. I'll say that. But she's the author of this book, you know? I would say she's probably at least a little bit, you know, without you guys asking any sort of questions here. Little bit affiliated with the plague. Mm-hmm.
What is your name?
Oh, my name is Zealous.
No, dear. The author's name. The author's name. You said you know her. Yeah.
Xanthoria, the author of the book.
Oh.
Wait. So Xanthoria, the author, named the book Xanthoria?
Absolutely. I know, it's a little confusing.
And all of the infected say the author's name?
Yeah, no, they're saying the title of the book, not the author's name.
It's
just
that's how I
kind of thing.
That. It's a big book club, apparently.
That was my mistake. I apologize.
Right. No, I'll get it. It's an easy mistake to make. I made it myself.
It's a great branding deal.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so how exactly is she, I can't remember the word you used in line with the, like, was she like the first fix? Is she like a doctor? I mean, I'm having trouble understanding.
It's okay. You know, I have a whole thing planned. It's fine. So Xanthoria was a druid of Sylvanus, who's the god of wild nature, whose forest home was threatened by undead. So she tried to research a little bit of, you know, fungus and lichen. And Xanthoria, she hoped to create a weapon that could protect her against the forest, you know, undead invaders. This forest is real scary. But that's kind of what the whole book is about, you know, her journey into craziness. So, and she takes a moment to like laugh at herself because she's clearly read it. Some point though, gotta say, real shame. real shame. She's a druid too, I'll tell you, Thoe, but things didn't turn out so good for her. Her research became more geared towards like creating a ward against death itself with the whole undead in the forest situation. And eventually she turned to lichdom. So where the book ends is it's kind of hard to understand her because I wouldn't say she's herself anymore. Was that
Because she became a big lich in the end. Got
Now,
it.
Leon is Fae. Can I make a history check to see that after she turned to lichdom, is there any rumors or any legends or anything along those lines that he can kind of bounce his mind off of?
I will say, can you give me an insight check?
Sure.
Are you like looking over Dr. Jackal's shoulders, like reading through as well?
I'm just kind of taking the words that I'm hearing and trying to imply into my own, kind of apply it to myself. So, insight, we
Okay.
can do insight. Oh, it's a -1. It's a 7. We're not doing well tonight.
You hate to
You
see
know,
You hate to see.
even
I
with
made an
that-
intelligence character, not a wisdom character.
You can. I'll say this: you don't learn anything new from the book, but Zelith is just kind of going off on a tangent at this point. You know, the forest is located in the it's what is it? The Lyquotha expanse. And Xanthoria was fearful of the surging undead, so she tried to become a lich, right? But there was a lot of time spent researching the undead in hope of gaining insight into their actions first, and she was trying to figure out where they were coming from. So while she was seeking those answers and kind of sinking into madness, the writing turns into kind of fragments. And I'm sure you can tell here, Dr. Jackal, towards the end of the book, there's really not a whole lot in there. So from my personal research...
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and break a cardinal rule and skip to the end then of the book and just sort of... I want to look at the ramblings and see if I can discern anything about them.
I mean, I'll say just by looking at it, you see the words Mycorhi, which is Mycorji. Mycorji. And Shidakla, which just spelled like it sounds.
Okay.
Other than that, you do see the words Lady of Lycan and the number 222.
Solid number.
But there's not a whole lot less. You know, I will say my interpretation of the end of the book, the recordings are kind of, in my opinion, failed attempts of Xanthoria to extend her life while she was working with the undead situation. There's lots of drawings of like dissected animals and humanoids, there's lots of musings of death in the end. I don't know if you can tell, but it gets a little bit dark towards the end. Fey creatures especially, it looks like she had a taking to for these experiments. It's real cringy stuff.
Cool.
I imagine, I hate to say this because it's a wonderful place, but I imagine if we are heart set on stopping this plague, we probably need to seek this person out. In whatever sort of area that they have holed themselves up in.
Do you have any idea where Xanthoria might be?
Oh, I absolutely do. It's actually on the top of right off the top of my head. And you just have to flip to the back of the book. There's a map. Of the Stored Coast.
Convenient.
Look at this. There's even an X that says "We are here." And then there's a sort of dotted line. That's convenient.
I've seen this before. So if we move, that dot moves with us.
Now, unfortunately, you can't take the book with you. It has to stay here in the library, but I can always have Gertrude make a copy of it for you as if you need it.
Yes, please. That would be lovely.
Okay. I will say, too, I would just like to know, as a DM, I'm probably gonna look. I'm gonna look at you, Leon, for this. What would you say your character's backstory with demons is?
Oh God. I would say for a good piece of coin, he'll at least try hunting anything once. So, maybe the smaller kind of stuff, mid-level, maybe. We'll be a little saucy with it.
Okay. Do me a favor.
Sure.
How's your Arcana, my guy?
If I was on a scale of 1 to however, it'd be around a 4. But I would be able to roll it twice because this is inside my wheelhouse of things.
Okay. Give me an Arcana check then. I just want to see.
Sure. Well, the first one was a 10. That's not good.
Yep.
And the second one was a 10.
What is going on?
I'm changing.
Can I do an Arcana? Like, are we talking out loud?
Anyone who's reading the book can do this Arcana check.
Okay, perfect.
Fantastic. I'm gonna go change my dice in D&D Beyond.
We're gonna take the 25 with the plus 15 there.
Wow.
Okay.
And Thoe
All
with the
right.
24. It's not a competition, but I would win. So.
Well, that's what I needed, y'all. All right. So as Zelith is rambling, you guys did hear the words, Mykorhi, Shadakla, 222. I will say that 222 is also on the map. And specifically, as a druid, Thoe, you would know that this is a layer of something. You don't know exactly what, but it's a bad layer. 222 is, if we're like in an elevator, you don't want to be on level 222. This is a place of dark magic. This is a place of demons. This is a place of Jubilex and Zuktmoy, which are the demon prince and queen of oozes and fungi, respectively. And that on the map where that 222 X marks the spot is where Zelith is telling you that Xanthoria is.
Okay.
So.
This is probably a pretty dangerous place. I'm just letting you know. I mean, I'm still going there. I mean, I'm assuming most of us are. Well, I shouldn't assume. I am. It's important, but it's also very dangerous. You should know ahead of time. There's like demons and dark magic and things like that. I mean, not that I have anything against demons. I've met some very nice demons in my day, but like, I'm just warning you.
I'm down for a raunt in a demon-infested cavern, sure.
Sounds like a normal Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Thoe, with that train of thought, give me an insight check.
Okay. That is a 23.
That'll do it. With process of elimination, you are about 98% sure that the plague originated at this X marks the spot.
Okay.
So yeah, any qualms anybody had about going there? You've officially answered that question.
Ooh. Something we probably should know before we walk into patient 0 is we know that this is infectious, obviously, but then we've never really discussed how we get infected with it, or how does one contract this?
Okay, fair enough. I will say from my research, anybody, just don't get within 10 feet of anybody that has this thing. Unfortunately, the CDC of D&D can't be that specific.
Okay.
So sorry. Didn't realize that was on there.
And let's say someone had to go within 10 feet of them. Well, how would that go? Would we like put our jerkins over our nose and run? Like, what are we working with here?
All right. I am working with 10 feet and the symptoms. So you can look out for the first symptoms. Not quite sure what comes between first symptoms and zombies, but, body aches, nausea, slurred speech, uncontrollable drooling, for one. And everybody seems real tired
Got like
with this
4 of those
thing.
symptoms naturally.
I was going to say, Leon, you might be infected.
This is the worst day of my life.
If he is infected, I could cleansing touch him and hopefully rid him of the comings of the plague. Maybe? We shall test this later when you are infected. Let's hope you get infected so we can test
When?
this for ourselves.
When?
Yeah.
Now I want to see how this goes.
Please, nobody, I hope you all brought your own snacks, because unfortunately the foodstuffs here on the Sword Coast has been infected. So I'm gonna need everybody, to either grab snacks from Gertrude on the way out, or, if your druid has a particular spell prepared, maybe use that on anything. But,
Having just
otherwise-
met this druid, I'm going to assume that they have no snack spells prepared. The Cheetos cantrip is not in their repertoire.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
was I
1000% would not recommend.
Was I supposed to prepare snacks? I am not a cook. I am so bad at that. I'm sorry. Was I supposed to? Oh,
No.
now I feel terrible.
No.
It's a joke. It's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm allergic to most things anyway. I'll check in with. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's fun. I feel like, but unfortunately, I'm also allergic to most things that help when you're having an allergic reaction. So it's a rough day. We'll check in with Gertrude and perhaps they can help us. And libraries, of course, are known for two things: books and the food that they give those eating books. So we will check in with her and get some snacks from her.
No, that sounds perfect. So I do want to instill one more tidbit for you. And she puts a hand on your shoulder, Dr. Jackal. Xanthoria was a good woman at one point.
Okay.
She was an adventurer, just like you all at one point, and her original mission was to, cleanse the forest of undead. She just got a little power hungry. So maybe if you can, destroy the plague, but don't destroy the person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. But
we will do our best to not leave anyone behind, especially someone that had lofty intentions and then may have fallen to the wayside a bit. Having just met a lot of the individuals here, but I have confidence in their abilities, and they certainly display the self-confidence of those that have the ability to get things done. So we will do our best.
well, thank yous. I appreciate that. So yeah, I would just say, perhaps grab some snacks from the front desk on the way out. It looks like Gertrude just prepared a fresh whatever the heck. They're sometimes cookies, sometimes brownies, and then if you want to get going, just follow the map. But I actually have a copy here, so you don't need to bother Gertrude again unless you absolutely want to. And she'll kind of slide it across the table to you guys so you have a map.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And does anyone have any objections with me holding on to this, or is anyone here particularly good at navigation and things of that sort?
Well, I want to toot more on, but
You're not
Pretty
allowed
good.
to. You're not allowed to do that in the library.
well, I've already done it twice, so you might want to give me some room. But that being said, I'm pretty good at navigating terrain and whatnot.
Sure. I will hand the map over to Lambrecht then.
Thank you kindly, and he's gonna tuck it away in his little rucksack.
All right. Does the Drake need a bathroom break before everybody leaves or anything? Are we good? Anybody get anything they want to do before the travel happens?
Can I two things really quickly? I do want to get either those cookies or those brownies or those brookies, and pick up a few of those. And then, are there any sort of books here just about mushrooms and fungi and stuff like that? Just on my way out to just do a quick sort of speed read of knowing the finer points of mushrooms and things of that sort. I'm like fun guy. I'm not a fun guy.
Sure. And she'll pull a couple of books off of the shelf. And she races up to Gertrude real fast, bags up a couple of cookies, couple of brownies, and brings them back with copies of the books.
Oh, fun! I can read these aloud on our journey, everyone. We can all learn about mushrooms together and grow.
Really love it. If you didn't, though, we could also not do that.
Yes, that's.
Oh, it could be great. Come on now. I'm sure Thoe would love to listen about this. Yeah.
Thoe is actually distracted because she can't actually leave this library without at least just stepping foot into the restricted section and then leaving. So there's going to be this very awkward moment where, since our table is over near there, where she has her pencil and then, oops, drops it into the restricted section and then runs over and grabs it and picks it up and walks out. She doesn't have to spend a lot of time there. She's going to scan the books as much as she can on the way out, but she just physically must step foot in the restricted section before she leaves.
Really leaving me hanging here, Thoe. How about you, man in the shiny armor?
Whatever the doctor thinks is... Whatever the doctor thinks. He has more authority than I do. I am not a doctor. I did not go to 13 years of schooling to be called a doctor.
Well, I just want to point out that you don't need fancy book learning always, all right? Sometimes it's about the journey rather than the degree, right?
He's getting better at this. It's great.
I will cast a message, and the message is going to go to Lambrecht, and it's going to say, give the small man his chance, his time to shine. You took the map from him. Don't take this from him.
Right, fair. You just gotta zip it up.
I'll pat you on the shoulder.
Wow. Okay. First of all, I would like to laugh at chat because the reason my alarm went off, y'all reminded me with your freaking allergy jokes. I take prescription strength Claritin, so we do not condone drug use on this channel, but I'm going to take that real quick. Thank you for reminding me.
That's fantastic.
Okay. I truly almost forgot. I really believe everything happens for a reason, so specifically thank you to Indigo and Chef Death and Minnie B for talking about allergies for a second. Perfect. All right. Moving on. Brief interlude there. I apologize. That's good. So you're taking all of the copies with you. I just need to make sure, Thoe, you did not take anything from the library, correct?
No.
Okay.
That would be terrible.
Okay.
I would never do that unless I needed to.
Okay. So as far as you guys getting to the Lycortha Expanse, which is the area within that's where the 222 marker is located, along the Sword Coast, within that giant forest that the undead that were spoken of are supposedly located. So you guys, as you continue along the Sword Coast, leaving the library, leaving the Avowed behind, Zelith gives you guys a salute as you continue on your journey. And I want, as you guys are continuing through the Expanse, I want somebody in chat to give me a luck check.
Ooh. Just in case you don't know how. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So this would be a D100, correct?
D100.
Yes,
Please.
someone in the chat. Here's a fun fact. While we walk, did you know that mushrooms are the only vegetarian food that can make vitamin D? Isn't that fascinating? Like, no other sort of vegetarian food contains the vitamin D that we need. And it's actually produced by a particular thing within the mushroom called glycerol that is converted into vitamin D when the mushroom is exposed.
That depends on what kind of vegetarian you are, because, I mean, technically a mushroom is not a plant. It is a fungi, which is completely different. So there could theoretically be a vegetarian who did not eat fungi or things from the animal kingdom.
You know what? I think I'm gonna look ahead. All right, I'm gonna hop on Princess's back and take a quick flight off, see if nothing's coming on the way. So, and
Leon, unfortunately, you take 4 points of psychic damage from that mushroom.
Wow.
The 0 save on wisdom? Absolutely. He is bored incessantly.
All right. As you guys are walking, what are we doing? Towards the forest, you guys know what you're looking for. I need to know specifically what everybody is doing.
I'm keeping an eye out.
Watching for anything. Okay.
I'm keeping an eye out for a change in terrain, because there's going to be an obvious shift from going through forests or established settlement to where a plague might have started. So I'm keeping an eye on the horizon as much as I can to see where that shift starts.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Lambrecht is going to have Princess kind of fly above them and kind of keep like a dragon's eye view of everything around them and kind of like relay information to him as they're traveling along, just to like keep abreast of their surroundings.
Okay.
I will
I'm
be
keeping an eye
leading
out for. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I will be leading the pack, staying ahead in case anything big comes our way. I will be able to block them.
Okay.
And Lambrecht's just gonna tap. What is the L names? The L names. What do they mean?
What did
Lophus.
Lophus.
Lophus on the shoulder whenever he needs him to go another direction according to the map, just kind of keeping him guided in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having my staff ready with Pass Without a Trace, just in case we start to see more people, because it only lasts for an hour, so I don't want to use it up too soon. But if we get in a situation where we're starting to see, infected or not, more people, I want to have that ready.
Sweet.
I'm playing a game. I'm playing a game with myself where I try to identify mushrooms. I am both the winner and the loser. So I'm looking at the ground, finding mushrooms, and then trying to identify them in the book.
1 is the loneliest number.
Okay. Unfortunately, Maz, I have a present for you.
For me?
Oh.
You shouldn't have.
As you are walking,
Sure.
you just happen, because I know you're looking out for it, but gosh darn it, those huge globs of ooze on the ground as you guys are getting closer and closer to the forest just can't be avoided after so long. You know, it happens to the best of us.
Sure.
Can you do me a favor and you roll me a D100 now, and you will be shuffled to the bottom of my table for taking this.
No.
Oh no. Okay.
I don't like this at all.
I feel like I'm being punished.
No.
Just took a wrong step.
A 67.
2 away from perfection.
2 away from perfection.
I owe you 2 more. Sorry.
All right.
Nice.
So,
Thanks.
I will say your symptoms are mild because you have only stepped in this. But your flaw, which lasts until you are cured, so I will say as long as you guys keep up speed, you can complete everything you need to do to get to this cave system and complete it within 24 hours before you zombify.
Yeah.
But your flaw before you are cured, which you learned from the book Dr. Jackal, that only a greater restoration spell or more powerful magic can rid you of this plague unless it is stopped.
Okay. Cool.
I'll just, this is in quotations. This is your current mindset.
Okay.
My mind is slipping away. My intelligence seems to wax and wane with the hours of the day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
So
no.
you're losing it a little, buddy.
I hate this.
It's okay.
This is
It's all
terrifying.
right.
Is this like immediately obvious to the rest of us, or is it something that like kind of sets in?
I will say he's still capable of everything, but occasionally there is a chance that kind of how in Pokemon when your Pokemon's paralyzed that he might not be able to act because he's kind of staring into the distance for a moment.
Okay.
Maz,
Fun.
Chef bought you a reroll so that like if something happens and it gets clutch time,
Cool.
like all right.
Yep.
What time of the Sorry.
No, go
What
ahead.
time of the day is it? What time of day
it's
is
still
it?
morning. It's before noon, somewhere between like probably
Okay.
9 and noon.
Okay.
You guys got to CandleKeep probably promptly at like 8 a.m. So
Okay.
A question that I have is the sickness that Moss has, that Leon has, is it noticeable that he's starting to turn or get infected?
I'll say with his role, the only thing that he is dealing with right now is uncontrollable drooling.
That's just normal, you know.
Everything else is fine
Normal.
for now.
Be fair, Leon did say that these were all symptoms he's experienced in the past. This
So
might
they-
just be a day in the life.
So
Yeah.
okay. Can I do? Well, no, I'm at the front of the thing. I wouldn't have noticed he fell in. Never mind.
He didn't fall. He just took a wrong step.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Which is, I would have no reason to notice.
yes. Now, Leon, are you telling everybody else what's going on?
I think I have an obligation to.
Okay.
I think I have the obligation to be like, hey, so I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which ones do you want first?
Right, well, I'm gonna say, bad news, get out of the way, and then we can have, like, the good news as a chaser. Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Is there
Okay,
a
so
cake?
you're gonna love this. So
Right.
we're walking, we're having a great time, and then I trip, and then there's this ooze. We all know the ooze. We've seen it all. We've seen it.
Right, the ooze that we were told not to step in, right?
See that? If I know your humor, this is what you're gonna love. I did. It wasn't on purpose, but there is a certain let's just say I'm not rolling real hot tonight.
So the bad
Well-
news is you stepped in the ooze, but the good news is
Right.
Well, the good news is I don't feel different other than it feels like I'm sucking on a Sour Patch Kid.
All right.
Right, well, everyone, stay at least 10 feet away from Leon. That's what we
That's
were
fair.
told. Right? Just to keep us all safe. Curve, flatten the curve, as it were. And then, getting back to a healer or whatever after we're done.
A greater restoration spell or something of the light might kickstart the old brain a little bit, but I feel okay right now.
I have a question. Is there a way I can do a insight or medicine check to determine if my lay on hands, which can cure disease or neutralize poisons, if that would be able to cure him at this stage?
Buddy, you already know.
I don't want to touch him if I don't have to.
No, it's all right. I will say, here's what I will say. For story purposes, I will say, because no one gave me an order, so I will create one. You are right next to Leon, and you're immune to disease. Yes?
I am immune to disease.
Classic
You
paladins.
are just fine being next to him.
Fantastic.
Right, all right. Well,
All right.
I do have maybe a more expedient kind of method of curing them. But I don't know if it's gonna work, and it does involve dying.
See,
I'm
saw
sorry.
the joke.
I'm sorry.
Nothing stopped it.
Oh no, I'm not saying we like kill him permanently.
Oh.
I can bring him back.
Like a little dead. Like mostly
like-
dead.
like mostly dead, and then as long as I touch him within a minute, no longer mostly dead. You know,
Just
like
partially.
like a
Am I
soft
going
kind of.
Lynchton now, or what's going on here?
This feels like someone getting a splinter in their foot and curing it by cutting off their leg and reattaching it. I don't know if I necessarily agree.
No, wait, hold on. There's a cool like.
Well, that's why I was
The
asking.
officers have really made good legs nowadays. Let's not be too hasty on that.
Yeah, listen, I've seen the
thinking
procedure done.
positively, and that's very good mindset to have.
I mean, I could also help you, but it would be tomorrow morning because, in hindsight, I really should have prepared all of my components and everything for a greater restoration to be available at any given time. And I feel like I kind of dropped the ball on that one.
You know what? You
however,
didn't know. It's not your
I
fault.
could just have like 8 hours good solid sleep. I feel like it could help you out. We're just going to be cutting it a little close time wise.
We'll see how it goes. I feel fine right now. It's fine. It's fine.
Dr. Jackal avoids having an asthma attack. A full-blown, like, just, it has a little mini one, takes out a small inhaler, inhales, and then just, it's perfectly fine. It's just fine.
Well, if you pass on from that asthma attack, I can bring you back from that too.
No, I'm fine.
You know.
No, thank you.
All right, well.
Thank you so much. This is...
I could also bring you back. You'd look different. You would be someone else.
I would like to keep...
I'd also have to prepare that for tomorrow. I mean, I'm not ready for it right now, but please don't die right now.
All we're saying is you're in good hands, right?
Speaking of hands, I want to just go ahead and attempt to see if I can lay on hands, spend 5 HP of that to cure disease.
Hello. Oh God.
Okay. I will say this. Leon is not cured, but Leon is no longer symptomatic.
Fair. I'll take it.
Oh, that's good.
Just don't
We'll
visit
take-
your grandma.
COVID times have reached CandleKeep.
Oh man.
What a joy to escape the world as we know it into a magical place where disease is rampant and we're worried about touching one another. What a lovely escape we've all created.
Oh no, this is worse. At least I've avoided one. I contracted the other.
I lay on hands.
My manager warned me about this today.
Imagine being magically transported to a place where individuals are afraid of the plague and cannot get within 10 feet of one another. Could you imagine such a world?
Leon,
Fantastic.
you hear a voice in your head from none other than Jubilex, Demon Prince of Oozes.
Oh, fantastic.
Got ya.
Well, really, I kind of got myself, so I'll give you half credit for it.
All right, who's he talking to?
I don't know. Mushroom fun fact: mushrooms help plants communicate with one another, so it's possible.
Right, but who's he talking to? He's not a mushroom.
You know. You never had weird voices in your head? God, typical
Well,
Monday,
yeah,
am I right?
I tend to like talk to them in private. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's rude to make them wait. They took time out of your day. You take time out of yours. Anyway, we should keep going.
Yes,
Sure,
have you
Right,
Leon.
then.
considered how much fun it is to say ooze?
I don't like that word.
It's a lot of fun.
Ooze.
Huh?
Right, it's a very nice word. Ooze.
No,
Huh?
Hey,
Leon,
I
he-
got moist. I can't do either one.
Huh? No.
Moist.
Huh?
Right,
Oh, the ooze
Leon.
is very moist. You can put them both together in a sentence.
Never-
Even better.
God.
Never mind.
moist ooze.
Never mind. He has the asthma
Tell me about
attack.
the
He has the panic.
mushrooms.
Leon, I hate to tell you this,
What's up?
but your newfound buddies have sufficiently bullied me, the DM, into thinking about the fact that, yeah, you should probably be tapped into the fungal network.
Amazing.
So you hear
Fantastic.
a constant, almost like bouncing between your eardrums, Xanthoria, just
Oh my God.
over and over and over again. It's almost like a jingle that just won't leave.
What a bop.
You're tapped in, my friend.
I love being part of a hive mind, a single
Right.
train hive mind.
This is
how I live my life
Weird.
normally.
This is the mushroom equivalent of the song "We Don't Talk About Bruno," just on repeat, like just.
Where's a bard when you need one to turn it
Oh,
into a catchy
God.
tune?
I have a 1 in charisma. I can work something out.
Wowza. Oof. All right.
Xanthoria. Sorry, go ahead.
That was great. Don't let me stop you.
Wow.
As you guys are just in general approaching what you all know as the Lycortha Expanse, it has a lot of physical characteristics that, Leon, you find extremely charming all of the sudden. We've got a lightly dim bioluminescent fungi kind of going on everywhere. Like, we're talking
Okay.
up tree trunks. There's a cave you can see probably about 50 yards upwards, a big mouth of a cave. There's fungus within the ceilings, within the walls. The floors are covered in fungal growth. Though you probably feel a little bit bad walking
I have my
around it.
book
There
out,
is
I'm
so
taking
much.
notes, I'm making sketches, and I'm collecting samples as we go.
Yeah, everything here is clearly alive. It's kind of like throbbing with bioluminescence. And you can tell as you get closer to this cave. The caves and tunnels are made of unworked stone. So it doesn't look like it's a man-made cave. It looks like it's just always been here. And the ceilings are 20 feet high, unless I say so. Just to make sure we're all on the same page.
What a
For anybody
flex!
trying
What a flex!
trying to get one over on the old DM.
So what you're saying is dragons probably won't be flying in here.
I would say that's
Could.
probably
Very tiny dragon.
Like if they're large, they're not gonna be like having a good time.
Lambrecht,
Have
your
them.
dragon can do anything if they believe in themselves. All right.
correct.
Yeah, that princess. Love you.
Is it going to become an Easter egg to know Princess's real name? Because I really, it's going to drive me crazy.
One of these days, maybe session 2.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Well,
Steaming hot
with that,
pile of princess lore.
Tune in next
Princess
week.
lore just dropped.
yeah. Leon, as you guys approach the front of this cave, give me a perception check.
Oh, fantastic. Another thing that I'm great at, wisdom. It's nat 20 minus 1, 19.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
And it's Ziggurat with our new hit song, Mycelium on the Ceiling.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So I will say you see from a small stand of stones, almost like someone was stacking stones in a creek.
Okay.
Right behind there, you hear faint cries. Like someone just had a really bad breakup, but is about this big.
You'll get over him. Or her. Or them. Guys, remember when I stepped in the ooze?
Right, yeah, it's been kinda hard to forget.
Okay, so you're caught up. I think I'm gonna say this, alright? I think I might be part fungus now. I can... that Ziggurat is just going on and on and on and on and on. It's in my head.
Well, good news is, the good doctor over there got a book on fungus and the like, so he can probably tell you all about your new life.
But there's someone crying, and fungus don't cry, and that's very concerning to me. I've come to terms with the fungus in my brain, but the crying fungus I just cannot put my finger on.
Well, what if there's a specific type of crying fungus? I mean, you don't know everything about every fungus.
Right.
Is there a crying fungus?
No, but some fungus can fart to spread spores. They push air
Alright.
through. So
That can't be true, right? You're just kind of making stuff up in the book because you're a doctor and you think we'll just believe everything you say, right?
No,
Well, it's not technically called farting, but it does expel air and gases. Yes. He's
Oh
correct.
God, I've got it in stereo.
And she gives him her most winning smile, which is awkward. Completely awkward.
If I walk closer, does the crying get louder?
Only slightly. This is
Okay.
coming from a very small person.
We've got Okay, smaller person crying. Okay,
Right. Perhaps, and hear me out on this, right? Maybe we leave it alone and go take care of a thing that's causing everyone to be
but it's in the
plague-stricken.
direction we're going. Like, that's the
Oh.
thing.
All right, well, I guess we can check it out then. It's
Oh,
on the way.
fantastic.
Leon,
Yes.
I just want you to know, you've been connected to this outside source, but you are still you. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't ever forget that. Just because you are fun guy does not mean that you are fun guy.
You are really freaking me out right now, man.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Can I have a hit of that inhaler? Because I'm going to need one here soon.
Oh,
This
I would.
use that.
No. I would prefer you not touch it. Just a friendly.
Okay, fine.
Okay, no, it's good. That's all right. Can I look around and see if I can find anything that might be causing this sound, even though I'm not connected to the fungal network? I'll just sort of see if there's any mushrooms around the area that are not, or any creatures around the area that might be making this.
I will say, Leon,
Yes.
you hear, specifically in your left ear, a break in the crying.
There's laughing, and he points to his left. That way.
I just thought of something really good.
That, more laughing. It's left.
Leon, I take it?
Yes. Oh god, they know my name.
Guess what?
And a small sprite flits out from behind these rocks.
You can't spell fungus without a U.
And she comes and she sits on your shoulder.
I hate this. This is... Well, hold on. Let's not be too drastic. Maybe this is a friend thing. Maybe we're being too drastic about this. Yes, can I help you, little sprout?
And
This...
Can we see the sprite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
About 6 inches. She's
Okay.
a small little guy. She has bright blue hair. It is in a faux hawk.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Rad.
And she has bubbles of snot coming out of her nose. Her tiny nose. And she is using the tips of her wings, now that she's comfortably seated on your shoulder, to blow her nose.
Oh god. I've got
Sanitary.
I've got a handkerchief here. Please, please.
She falls off your shoulder from the weight.
Oh god. Can I catch her? Like, deck save catcher, maybe?
I'll say you don't have to make a save. She's easy to catch. She falls
thank God.
slowly. She looks up at you and she goes,
Do you want to know my name?
Yes, you know mine. I think that's polite.
and she goes over to your ears and she whispers,
It's Thunderwing.
Oh, man, that's a cool name. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't see that coming. And he says, she's Thunderwing. Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
And
So how do you know my name?
Before she can answer, she just immediately starts crying again.
Okay. Why are you crying?
Do you really want to know?
She's smiling again.
I feel like I'm obligated to ask.
I don't think that's true. We can just leave it alone.
Hey, when you get connected to the fungal network, you could make the decisions. Until then, just take a seat.
I can tell that you know about Xanthoria.
We do, yes. We're acquainted.
That's just interesting. Because...
And she just starts crying all over again.
I'm not really good at this one, guys. Can someone please?
She's connected as well, Leon.
Oh no.
Stopping mid... She turns to look at you, Dr. Jackal. Her eyes don't look quite alive.
Dr. Jackal? I take it?
Oh, no, that was another one that we left on the on the path that we were walking into the cave. I don't.
You touched the book.
Yes. No, I did. That was something that was I did. I did touch the book. Yes.
Looking over at Thoe, she looks up at you.
You didn't touch the book.
I didn't. I read it, but I didn't touch it because somebody else was. Was it bad to touch the book? Was it good
What's
to touch
your
the book?
name?
Dr. Jackal starts shaking his head like just.
She is naturally a little more suspicious around the Fae than she might have been earlier in her life. So, why do you want to know?
It's polite to refer to people by their name.
You can give me a
Well, I was just gonna say, well, you can call me Zoe.
give me a deception check.
Oh, I've got a +0 to those, so this should go real well. 7.
I'm sure it's fine when the dead Fae start asking what our names are. Like this is great.
You do not recognize the Fae in the water.
No.
She just kind of stares at you for a second and she goes,
Noted. So not Zoe then.
Well, that's what you can call me.
I doubt it.
and she gets on top of your head, and just kind of crosses her arms and starts ranting.
See, you guys came to this cave without a care in the world. It's fine. So I might as well just share my story with you guys.
And she bursts back into tears.
Sounds like a villain exposition, and I'm not here for it.
I gotta go. I gotta get some pudding from the pudding store.
I swear to the gods, everyone has a podcast these days. Like even this pixie.
Wow.
Can
Wow.
Dang.
Can I move so that I am more than 10 feet away from everybody else in the party?
Yeah.
Because she's
You
sitting
can
on
move
my
into the mouth
head.
of the cave
That would be the only way.
right now.
I start to move. Okay, then I start to move in that direction. I say, I would like you to remove yourself from my head, please.
Sure. She goes and she'll take a seat on Princess's head, crisscross applesauce.
No. Princess.
Before you can protest.
So you see, I used to live here with my friends Xanthoria and Bunny Blossom. Bunny Blossom was my dragon.
And you can tell she starts petting Princess on the head. Very, very slowly, kind of admiring the scales as her teeny tiny hand drifts.
Insight. Sure.
I want to try again.
Okay, sure.
Can I pet your dog? Can I pet your dog?
He's
Good thing.
sleeping.
Good thing the Fae don't have to ask.
Not with a 0.
What is happening, Maz?
I am having a bad night today, man.
If
D&D
anyone
Beyond's
else,
killing me.
if anyone else would like to do so, you may.
What's the check? Sorry.
Insight.
Insight. I just happen to be a master at those. That's
Oh!
a hot 21.
You just called your shot. Oh, Thoe with the nat 20.
Wow. Okay. Those who got above a 16, if anybody rolled, she is absolutely telling the truth right now.
Oh.
Without a spell, she's a little manic, but she's telling the truth. And her eyes dart over to Thoe.
You were talking to Zelith, weren't you? About
Yes.
Xanthoria and her
Yes.
journey as a druid? Okay. So you would know that she was a druid of Sylvanus. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
making sure.
Yes, absolutely. I knew that.
I might need a little bit of help.
And she's kind of looking around, like realizing she probably came across a little crazy. But she is looking at everybody kind of with a pleading look in her eyes, especially Leon.
Right, well, we're already helping, so get in line and we'll come and take your number.
No, but I don't have my memories right now. And unfortunately,
And she starts crying again.
I think something might have happened to me. And it hurt a lot, but I escaped. So that's why I'm outside of the cave. Clearly the cave that you guys are thinking of going inside, so I think that I can help.
So what is all in there?
I don't remember.
DM, is she dead? Is she infected? Is she displaying the signs of infection that we have gleaned from all of our interactions?
Give me a medicine check.
Oh,
All right.
Not good at that. Is this for everyone or just?
You are a doctor.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
I could assist because I have advantage on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Ooh, hot!
Ha cha cha.
it's a 22.
Okay.
Originally. But I will roll it again if Leon is helping.
Yes.
We are going to stick with the 22.
Okay. You can tell she's not infected, but she does not look lively.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I will tell you what. We are going into the cave to see if we can fix this issue that's going on. If you would like to assist us, what is it you are requiring our help with? Are you looking for your dragon? Is that why you're having us go? You need our help? What is it you need?
Find my dragon would be really swell.
All right. Then we will go and try to assist you. If you'd like to stay with us, just we ask that you treat us fairly, and we will perhaps try to help you figure out your memories as well.
Okay.
And you see her eyes go blank, almost like white for a second. And when she appears to like come to after blanking for a moment, she goes, "What? Where am I? What time is it?" And she looks around, kind of slowly realizing that she knows your faces. And she'll calm down a bit and sit back down after standing up suddenly on Princess's head.
Would I have any background on you said Sylvanus? A druid of Sylvanus?
Sylvanus is a god of wild nature.
Okay.
Definitely like goddess of the forest.
Okay.
But also a little bit of chaos. You know, clearly to be the goddess of a forest infected by undead that Xanthoria was trying to quell, you probably have to be a little crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would say you know that for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would it be better if we sent someone in ahead of us? I mean, I can bring owl. I've got an owl friend that I could bring along and maybe send ahead into the cave to check it out ahead of time, if someone would prefer.
That sounds smart.
Okay.
How big? Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
How? I know you said the height of the cave was about 20 feet. How wide is the cave? Like, is it big enough for Princess to fit in, or does it seem like Princess isn't going to be able to travel at all?
I mean, I guess it just depends on how tall Princess is. I didn't imagine Princess to be
she's a
tall,
large creature, so I think that's 10 by 10.
Yeah.
It's a tight fit, but like width-wise, but she'll fit. I'll say she'll fit. Yeah.
Okay.
Like you said before, no spreading of wings, but she can fit otherwise. Leon, As the whites of her eyes were showing, you received a brief vision.
Okay. Amazing.
You saw in this vision a female half-elf in a gossamer cape made of beautiful thread. The vision was accompanied by just a very brief feeling of intense longing and a hunger like you have never felt.
My God. Does she? I mean, can
And
I
that's it.
infer? Can I infer that the wood elf is the lady we are looking for, with the red nose?
There was no description of Xanthoria in the book.
Got
Only,
it. Excuse me.
yeah. So you have no idea. Even Zelith didn't really know what she looked like before.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I will convey that once again. Obligation requires me to tell people. I saw, wood elf lady. Just brief, very brief. She wasn't half bad. She wasn't covered in too much mushrooms, I guess. And then I got real hungry.
Right. Well, maybe it might be better to take care of this thing sooner rather than later. Right. So maybe we might want to get a move on.
I
Okay.
would like to be cut from this as quickly as possible.
Right.
I don't even like mushrooms in my food.
Foey, you said you had an owl.
Absolutely. I just didn't know if you wanted to send in Princess instead, but
Well, I could.
no. Well, I mean, you can. You're welcome to, or I can bring along a. I just didn't know how Princess felt about going into caves alone,
Princess,
particularly without being able to fly.
she's a tough
Fully.
gal. Right. She spent most of her life not flying. It's more of a new addition.
Do you
Princess?
think Princess would prefer to do reconnaissance in the cave?
She's rather big, though. Might get noticed a bit easy, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind doing it, right, Princess? And you guys hear some draconic kind of murmuring. It's like, now, Princess, don't use that language with me, all right? I'm trying my best. I really am. We got to save all these people. And you just hear... And she kind of trudges into the cave.
This poor dragon.
As you guys are heading in, is everybody heading in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna let Princess probably get a good, 30 to 60 feet, maybe let's say like 40 feet
Perfect.
ahead of us.
Lophus and Dr. Jackal, as someone who can heal and someone who claims to be able to heal by their name. I will say, as you guys are entering the cave, you get an entire body sense of things that either wish to die or are losing the will to live.
Lophus, did you feel that?
The calling of death. Yes, I did feel that. There's two options we have here.
What are they?
We can attempt to cure the creatures as they are.
All right.
We may become infected.
Okay.
Or we can put them out of their misery. And I feel like that one might be less cruel than letting them succumb to the disease.
I feel like you're missing out on a third option.
What is the third option you propose?
Cry. Just cry as we move forward into this cave.
I am perpetually crying, so I'm already... I didn't even consider that.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Non-option. Yes.
There we are. Onward, then.
Okay. Chat, if anybody is available, give me another D100 roll, please.
Fun.
Yep.
Here's
Do you
a
have any other
mushroom fun fact.
I was gonna say!
The death cat mushroom is considered one of the deadliest organisms on Earth. And half of a death cat mushroom contains enough toxin to kill a fully grown adult. So there's a fun fact
Oh, I think I knew that one already.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Are there any in here? Can you let us know before we get close to any?
Mushrooms are also known for their antioxidants. So, Leon, if you don't die here, you'll be right as rain in terms of antioxidants after you'll.
And apparently vitamin D. I learned that from the
Oh, yeah.
mushroom fact of the day.
Oh gosh.
I never understood the term antioxidant. I mean, aren't we trying to get oxygenated? Isn't that like a thing?
Wait, he's got a point.
Oh no. All right. Chef Halida, thank you for the 39. And that brings us into the first room of the cave. Are you guys going carefully? Are we going in a particular order? What's happening?
I would prefer to lead the party if possible. If not, I'll be following behind Princess.
Okay.
I would not. I would like to be near the back. Near
right.
the back.
I would like to be away from Leon.
Perfect.
I'll be behind the paladin because he can hang out with me.
Hey, Leon, how you doing?
Hey man, I've gained a couple extra people in my brain, but trauma does things to you.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't know why I got vaccinated. I should have just taken 3 levels in Paladin, and I would have been good.
It's a common mistake.
Or
Yeah.
4 levels in monk,
Channel Fauci. You know what I mean? Like it's a real.
Dark.
CDC.
We're gonna try to be stealthy, though. At least I'm going to try to be stealthy.
How dark is this cave?
If you do not have dark vision, I was just about to say that, you cannot see.
Ooh,
There is bioluminescent fungi all over the place, but you can maybe see 1.5 foot in front of your face, unless you're looking at the fungi along the walls. That you can see perfectly clearly.
Not
All
to
right.
alarm anybody, but there seems to be fungus among us.
I'm going to go ahead and cast dark vision on myself and then look around to see if anyone else looks completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely see this look of like squinting and from Lambrecht as he's kind of like fumbling around, feeling like the ground in front of him, trying to like use his like survival skills to like, keep centered.
All right, wait. Who can see right now?
Fine.
I'm human, so I forgot to mention that earlier, but I am human, so I don't have dark vision.
Are people raising their hands because I cannot see? You've just asked and no one answered, so I don't.
That's terrible.
I'm
Well,
fine, thank you. How are you?
We're fine.
okay.
Yeah, everything's fine.
It sounds like we have 3 people currently that cannot see in this space. Is that a correct guess?
We can just leave them like this. That'd be funny.
We could also just use a torch, though. Like there's no.
Could.
I did think about Princess getting, a CNI Drake, right? Because she's got dark vision, so I could have brought her into the library as my CNI Drake, but.
Are we hearing the sounds of people? Well, we know that there are people in this cave, right? Or we know there's at least one person in this cave.
As of right now, you guys can still hear the faint Xanthoria kind of like coming from outside.
God. Tequila.
Xanthoria!
I mean, realistically, it seems safer to probably not use a torch, especially when this thing is coming from fungus, and then the fungus could catch fire, and then the fungus might get mad. If it has emotions, it gets mad. I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire would also announce our presence to any people that might be in the cave. Maybe it's better if we can just all see in the dark.
Do you
Don't you
guys
think?
get mad?
Right, but I can't, so...
Right, I know. So I can help.
Oh, all right.
So I will use my last 2 remaining 2nd level slots, and then 1 3rd level slot. So that all 3 remaining people have dark vision for the next 8 hours.
Wait, so who has dark vision?
Everybody should.
Everyone.
Well, I cast it on myself,
Oh,
and then who was the one person?
I think
Maz.
I think
had
I
dark
was the only one that
vision already.
naturally had dark
Yeah.
vision.
okay.
Zoe, that was very kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're welcome. Mostly it was just practical.
I retract the compliment.
That's probably better.
If anyone was curious, I can see.
Oh my God, the pixie. Yes. Yeah. No, of course. We were. Yes.
I didn't even know you left Princess's aid.
No. Yes. Of course we were worried. But thank you for let us know.
Also, we do not claim the rights to that music.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's called parody law.
Just a quick question. What's the plan here?
See, that's the thing, dear. We don't have one.
Right.
Perfect.
Walk into the cave.
That's a plan. We do have one, right?
Yeah.
We go in, we fix the problem, we go out, and maybe grab a nail, right?
Right.
This seems fantastic. Let's see how this goes.
I feel like we go for an ale right now.
Has Lambrecht gotten any anything from Princess? Any stirrings or anything?
Princess is guiding you into the first kind of offshoot. I'm using that 39 from chat. That the first offshoot cave that you guys come across that is not just that straight entrance. Would you guys like to go in?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there ooze around that we have to be careful of?
Not in here.
Oh, fantastic.
Great.
Not yet.
My two favorite things, rooms and no ooze. Let's go.
Right. Funny enough, in here, there are a couple of very dimly lit lamps. Like, the candles are just about at their wit's end. And spider webs and mold cover everything inside of this small room, this small cavern. A rotting wood table and a set of shelves stand along the far wall. We have glass jars. We've got a mortar and pestle, and various other alchemical supplies, just scattered amongst the space. It's a very small room. I will say Princess does not fit, but the rest of you can fit comfortably around the rotting wood table.
Hey, if everyone is okay with this, I would be happy to cast Pass Without a Trace. It will ensure that it's much harder to detect our presence, and it's actually something that I can do lots of times.
Sure. Would you mind if we looked around this room though with the alchemical supplies first before you?
Oh no, that's fine. It won't affect whether or not you can look at things. It will just affect whether or not people can see us doing things.
Oh yeah. Cheers. Absolutely. I want to do a little bit of digging around the area and seeing if I can find anything within the jars useful or a piece of paper. Does it look like just a living quarters of sorts?
I mean, most of the bottles in the room are ruined. There's only a couple on that back shelf that actually look like they're in any kind of good wear. Are you doing... Can you give me an investigation check?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me...
I can also assist with that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Let's do this. First one is a 33.
Hey.
What?
And then I said, do you understand how hard it was to create a barbarian who had a plus 15 to investigation? These are not natural barbarian skills. This took so much. But
I'm digging it though.
Incredible.
A 33 for an investigation.
Well done.
Okay. You are able to complete the most thorough search of this room, my friend. As you sift through all of the broken bottles, being careful to not let any of them slice your fingers, you find a superior potion of healing.
Oh!
Look at that!
And I will say you almost slip on a mildew-covered notebook that's on the floor. While you're looking through all of the potions.
It's a notebook of sort. Does it look like it would infect if I were to flip through it or anything like that? It just looks regular run-of-the-mill mildew.
It's just a little wet, yeah.
Yeah.
A little cavey.
Would anyone like this superior healing potion? I'm not nearly as excited about this as I am about the mildewed notebook on the floor.
I already have a healing potion with me, so it can go to somebody else. I mean, it's not as great as that one, but it's fine. It's fine. I'd also like to look at the notebook with you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lothis, would you mind handing this to Leon, just in case the things get a little dicey, in terms of...
I shall.
Yeah.
Here's this.
Oh,
Right. So
fantastic. Keep with this
my
bit.
only worry is that we're handing things off to Lothis, right? And Lothis is talking to Leon, right? And Leon's sick, but sure, Lothis don't get sick, right? But what if you still got the ick on him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. We just
Prestidigitation.
Don't worry, I'll be over here.
Oh.
we just have to trust. We have to hope for the best. What does the notebook say? The mildewed notebook?
So as you open it, it has a single spell written down. I will say, Zoe, you recognize this spell as the ingredients for a potion of longevity.
Ooh.
So
Do you know-
I'll just
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
say this for everybody. When you drink this thing, your physical age is reduced by a d6 plus 6 years to a minimum of 13. And each time you subsequently drink a potion of longevity, there's a 10% chance that you instead age by that much.
Oh, it would have been better if you turned into a baby. Like, there's
You just cease to exist.
This is an absolute win, you know?
I will say between the two of you, you would know if we were speaking in what kind of a check this costs. 30 intelligence. So, like, just because you guys, like, with your knowledge of ingredients, it's a hefty boy.
and it's just the recipe. It is not like the workings of the potion. It's just like if we came
Correct.
across an alchemical set, we could create a potion
Yes.
of longevity. All right.
Now, you would know, the blood of an archfey and fungi are pretty much all you need, other than regular spell components you would already have.
The blood of
See,
an
it's...
archfey.
Oh, no.
Mm.
Where's the pixie?
Oh my god.
No, gods. No, that's
Leon,
nothing.
what are you doing to the pixie?
I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to figure things out. It's been a rough day, you know?
No, we would need an archfey. An archfey de-ages you years. Using a pixie, this would be like going back a few days. You know what I mean? So,
All I need is a couple hours.
Well, at my age, every bit counts. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
Getting kind of up there.
No, wait a second. Leon brings up a good point. If we were to mitigate and use other materials, de-aging Leon, would that remove the curse?
I only need a couple hours, if that. And I would really like to stop hearing Xanthoria in my brain.
You guys
But maybe it
know
just makes... Yeah.
it is your physical age. It does not turn back time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nice try, though. Nice try, folks.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just saying, if he does die, I do have that spell. So that's a last-ditch effort, really.
Let's...
Just still putting that on the
It's
table.
starting to get more and more appetizing every time he says it.
No. We're going to definitively call that plan Plan B. That is forever Plan B. We are not going to resort to doing that.
Oh, fine.
Just reminding.
So, let's...
Is there anything else that kind of stands out, or is this just the lamps?
It's just a dirty, crusty cave room.
I love lamp.
That's the big mood.
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
Lamp.
I love lamp.
Do you really love lamp, Leon?
Fire the lamp.
I don't know what I love anymore, man. It's been a rough day. Alright, so there's nothing else in this room other than the alchemical set and mildewy notebook.
Correct. And you can take the notebook with you if you would like.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Or are we taking it? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any continuing forward? I guess is the next.
That's up to you guys.
No.
Well, I think it's time to move on then.
Let's go.
Sure.
Agreed.
All right.
Princess, lead the way.
You kind of have to stuff Princess's shoulders back out of this doorway, and instruct her backwards. She can no longer be in front unless she goes in front of you guys on the other side of the door, and then you guys all follow her.
Understood.
I'll take
It's
the
getting
lead.
a little narrow.
Right, just make sure to stay about 15 feet. I just want to give a bit of an extra buffer.
For
just
being
in
downwind.
case.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So Leon will draw his rather heavy crossbow, and all right, let's go do this, and he'll walk down the path.
Lambrecht is going to head up the rear then with Princess, so that they're kind of spaced out, and he's gonna mount her, and just kind of stop.
No, it's fine.
Stop. She's my best friend.
You can't do that in the library either.
He's gonna saddle up, as it were, and it's not better. It's not. I don't know what you. He's going to do the D&D mechanic where he boards his mount.
Yeah, you are.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't win.
This is a rated R stream.
Wow.
Very rarely do we
I'm
make it
in
past
love.
10 o'clock. This is what happens.
I'm in love. Is everybody doing okay, by the way? We have hit 10.
Oh
fine.
no, we're doing
No, we're
fine.
good.
I will. Time. Yeah, I'm good.
I will walk next to Thoe then, in sort of the middle ground then.
Okay.
As we are walking, or
Yes.
for a couple steps, Leon will take on Leon's belt. It looks like a set of fangs, and the points of the fangs are pointed, and he'll just run his hand off the fangs, and the bolts on his crossbow will start to glow, just with a little radiant energy, as he has used one of his curses or his blood maledicts.
Okay.
Just arming the crossbow is a little extra heavy.
Sure thing. Okay. Anybody else doing anything as you're walking? We all good? Okay. I need another random D100 in the chat, please.
If someone from the chat would like to do that, I could share with you a fun mushroom fact.
Oh no.
Here's another fun. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians reserved mushrooms for royalty, as they believed they were gifts from the gods, so only those of a royal lineage were allowed to eat mushrooms? Isn't that a fun little fact? I found that interesting.
Now it goes on pizza.
And now it tends to go on pizza. Yes, as it were.
Same thing that happened with lobsters, though. They thought lobsters were bad. Now they're in fine dining.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. Lobster with poor people food.
Exactly.
Yeah, peasant food.
As we continue our stroll.
Yes. And I would like to say, oddly enough, the two numbers in chat, 47 and 34, are within the same threshold right now because the chart is getting smaller as you guys explore. Like, legitimately right there. Mike, which is Crivy14, I need you to roll in the chat, sweetheart. That's my boyfriend. I'm not demeaning a random viewer. Next time you got this,
Hold on.
okay?
Did you see Mother of Cats hit on our audience? It was just like, sweetheart.
Is that like a tier perk? Where do
I know.
Subscribers
Listen.
only.
Recommend get yourself a golden retriever gamer boy, y'all. Recommend. I will say, all right, we're here. So as you guys continue, everybody give me a perception check, please, from everyone.
Let's go. From everyone, including Princess.
Yes, please.
Yes. She's way better at this than I am. I rolled a 15.
Good God, Thoe. Good gods.
I'm very perceptive.
A 7.
Bonus.
Okay.
Oh, she doesn't get one.
I'm never not making a wisdom-based character ever again.
Lambrecht got a 15, and Princess got also a 15.
Okay.
I got an 18, which for a normal person is a pretty good roll, which is 10 less than Thoe's 28%.
Right. What'd we get, Lofus?
I got a
didn't hear you.
12.
Okay. Anybody above an 18, it is very faint, but it is getting stronger. There is a very, a thick stench of death in this slowly yawning cavern. It's getting a little bigger. It was very skinny a couple minutes ago, but it's definitely getting wider. And it's getting almost sticky and slimy. Leon, you would notice this is not the same ooze that you stepped in.
Okay.
It's almost saliva?
Ooze
And as you
2.0.
guys-
I like this.
Worse.
As-
Thanks.
Zoe, as you look towards the ceiling, you see amputated pieces from a variety of creatures are hanging on the ceiling. As you look forward on the walls.
Guys, don't look now.
That's now I want to look.
Right,
You realize this is the worst thing you could have possibly said. This is the worst thing you could have said.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Interesting fact, there are some people in the world that are super tasters. Quite often they're also super smellers. And I happen to be one of those people, and that's what made me notice the amputated limbs hanging from the ceiling.
Immediately looking up.
Good gods.
Right.
Yeah, it's a party. Is anybody doing anything right now?
Trying not to heave.
Fair.
I am starting to get freaked out and scared, which means the big guy is making rumbles underneath my skin.
No.
He's starting to wake up a little bit, and so
Okay.
Anybody that's around Dr. Jackal would see his skin start to just kind of look like it's rolling a bit. But
No, the cave's getting real deep, big guy. We don't need you right now.
It is getting deep. It is getting warm. It is getting moist. I know how much everyone loves that word.
Oh God, this is...
Those 3 words in combination.
Remember we said we were okay at 10? It's 10:12. I'm no longer okay. The crossbow is definitely sighted in at this point. He is ready to pull the trigger on anything that comes into sight at this point.
Okay, perfect. I will say, all of the sudden, I need everybody to give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, thank God. It's something I'm good at.
Everybody can add 5 to that because
Okay.
of my aura of protection.
do we see it coming?
No.
Okay. So danger sense is not in effect right now.
So I have a...
Not unless you're scared. Are you
Yeah,
scared?
make sure you add your +5.
I'm just going to have to add it verbally. Because
Yeah.
I've already rolled.
Yeah, 35.
20.
Should I make it using princesses or mine? Since I'm on princess.
Ooh.
I would say princess.
That's much worse. Cool. Let's
Okay.
do it. Dex saving throw 1 plus my proficiency. So 6. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that roll's not great. What do I get to add to it?
5.
Plus 5.
5. So 14 plus 6. So 20.
15.
14.
Yeah, so one better.
You win.
All right. As everybody is moving forward, starting with, we got Lofus, what'd you get?
20.
Okay. What about you, Lambrecht?
20 as well.
Zoe?
14.
Okay. Leon?
35.
Okay. Dr. Jackal?
15.
Okay. Leon is the only one who saves, as everyone else in the party is swallowed by the purple worm that you have walked into.
Oh my god!
What?
So, Leon, you see ahead of you as these just giant gnashing teeth, almost like the creatures from Tremors,
Yeah.
that come out of the ground, just shut in front of you. And all of a sudden, there is a solid purple wall as all of your new friends are swallowed by a purple worm. I need everybody to roll initiative, please.
What?
Oh
God.
Okay.
Oh,
Gosh, I
no.
love how this was random. Thank you, chat.
Ugh.
That's a 17.
Okay.
And Princess also has a 17. We share initiatives, but she takes her turn directly after mine.
All right. What else we got, fam?
Hang
I have
on.
a 13.
13.
Oh.
Ooh. Hey.
14 for Dr. Jackal.
Okay. I've got Lofus. What do you have?
13.
Good. All right. So, Lim the Drake. We got 17. 14 from the Doctor. 13 from Thoe. 13 from Lofus. Who am I missing? Leon. What you got?
6. I have a 5 initiative and I rolled a 1.
Oh,
God.
buddy.
That's like my fourth
It all
one
went to
today.
the 35.
Bruh.
It's fine. You're not
This
in a
is
worm
like-
right now. And
This is like my 4th one tonight.
So you
And I've
had a bad day. Take a one.
I've rotated D&D dice every time.
your
Wow.
friends
All
were
right.
eaten by a worm.
Yeah.
Walking
And
on
I-
out.
And your turn is last.
And I will say that Thunderwing, if you will let her, Lambrecht, she will try to hide within like the confines of your clothing, if that's okay.
Yeah, he probably is more concerned about being swallowed by the worm than
Okay.
where Thunderwing is.
Okay. So order of initiative, so everybody knows, we got the worm. I've got Lambrecht and the Drake on deck. With Dr. Jackal, then we've got Lofus, then we've got Dr. Jackal, Thoe, Lofus, Leon. Okay. So the worm already went. What are you doing, Alex?
Is there... So what is the anatomy of this worm?
It is a moist cavern. And it's moving. It is clearly moving. It's already digesting some like rock and stone because it's moving. It is in the process of like creating more of these caverns that you guys are walking through.
Ah!
Yeah.
all right. Is there anything that looks like it would be vulnerable to being shot at with a bow and arrow?
This thing's deep. Even with
Deep.
dark vision, it is past 60 feet to the end of this thing. The only end that you guys can see is the mouth that is shut right now.
All right. I can't move anywhere because I have to let Princess do that.
Mhm.
What spells do I have? I got a spell for this, right? Right?
Oh no.
I have one. That would
Called bow and
that
arrow.
might do it. I have a spell called bow and arrow. Okay, so Lambrecht is going to use one of his 4th level spells
Okay.
and summon a flame elemental
Okay.
in the mouth of the worm. And
Okay.
say, he's gonna, all right, chew on this then. And then, so you call forth an elemental spirit. The creature resembles a bipedal form wreathed in the chosen element, which determines its stat block. The creature is an ally. In combat, the creature shares your initiative count, but takes its turn immediately after yours. So add the elemental after Princess, I guess.
Okay.
And then he's gonna say, "All right, princess, you're going to bite down on the mouth and element just have a great time, bash itself out. Just try and make us a way out." So I believe that is all I can do because I had to use my bonus action for princess.
Okay. So can she act on her next turn?
She
Was
can
that, like-
act on her next turn. I did like she can move. She has her own movement.
Okay.
But I have to use my bonus action to tell her what to do. So
Correct,
that's that. So I was telling her to take the bite action essentially.
Perfect.
So
All right.
just gonna have Princess find a really fleshy part of the mouth and maw down on it.
All right. What can you I won't make you roll to hit. What's that damage?
That damage, empowered bite. So 2d6. Attack plus 3. It is 2d6 and then 1d6. No! I rolled 2, so 8
Okay.
points of damage, piercing damage.
All right.
Oh, so 4 points of piercing damage and 4 points of ice damage.
Okay.
Because the empowered bite is its chosen element.
Perfect. This thing does not flinch.
Not great.
All right. What are we doing, Doctor?
Oh, it's the elemental's turn.
Oh,
And
sorry, I forgot you summoned that thing. Go ahead.
that's fine. And the elemental is going to just try and bash out the mouth.
Okay.
Do I need to roll for that? I don't have to roll for that either.
Anything will hit while you're inside. Yeah.
Cool. So that is a slam attack is a D10 plus 4, and then the elemental and princess are within 30 feet of each other, right?
For sure. You
Cool,
guys
so
are,
it gets
if you haven't moved, you're all within 20 feet of each other right now.
Cool. So that's an extra D6
Okay.
of cold damage. So it's 10 fire. It's going to be 8 fire damage. 8 plus 4, so 12 fire damage and 6 cold damage, as this elemental is kind of wreathed in Princess's draconic essence and tries to bash its way out of the mouth of the worm.
All right. Perfect. Does that complete your turn?
That does.
All right. Doctor, you are up.
The doctor looks at the worm in the mouth and his skin bubbling, and he goes, "I am perturbed, and you wouldn't like me when I'm perturbed." And growing from where the skinny human doctor is a large sort of behemoth of a green presence rippling with muscle. The behemoth sort of cracks his neck and it echoes throughout the cavern. As he does, he reaches inside of his chest and pulls out what appears to be a great axe from the bones in his own chest, turning one of his ribs into a great axe, the wound healing up around it. He takes the rib bone and goes running forward towards the creature and starts bashing at one of the teeth to make an opening for the rest of the party. So he is raging at this point and will go ahead and make his attack rolls.
Okay.
You said all of the attacks hit, right? Because we're inside. Do you want us to still roll attacks? Okay.
Not right now.
Not right now. Okay, perfect. Then it is a 16 points of damage on the first as he slams into one of the teeth, right at the gum line, to try to wedge the axe underneath one of the teeth. And just as the axe is wedged, Leon gets it. He's going to stand up and jump down on the axe to pry open the tooth. It is just a brutal attack, trying to pry open an opening.
Okay.
And it is another 11 points of damage to that one tooth. So 37 total.
Perfect.
I guess we found out what his doctorate was in.
Doctorate is it?
BDS.
Yep.
He lets loose this like guttural scream that echoes throughout.
Oh no.
Alrighty. Does that complete your turn?
That's it.
Perfect. Thoe, you're up. Lofus, you're on deck.
I would like to summon animals.
Okay.
And yeah, conjure animals. Sorry. I'm going to conjure 8. What are they? Giant centipedes, which are actually still pretty small. They're giant for centipedes.
Okay.
And I'm going to send them all to the gum area where he's like got his axe in there, especially so that they can start biting this area. But if that tooth pops out, they're going all the way down into that like place where the tooth came out, because that's going to make it sting like extra bad. So
Okay.
I'm kind of essentially assisting what he's doing.
Sweet.
God.
I wanted to sleep tonight.
Centipede in my tooth cavity. Oh God.
8 of them.
Oh no.
That's insane. Alrighty. While you are giving me that, do we get damage from that yet?
Yeah, we can. Do you want here? I pulled it up right now. So it is. They get a bite, and it's a +4 to hit, and then it's going to be 1d4 +2 piercing damage. Oh, and there's a DC 11 con save, where they get poison damage too.
Okay.
Do you want me to just like roll all 8 of them at once and just to figure out what hits and what doesn't, to make it easier?
Roll damage for all of them. If they are.
Okay, just roll damage. Okay, so what I'll do then to make it easier is I'm going to do, it's 1d4 +2, so I'll just do 8 d4s, and then I'll add 2 times 8, 16 to that. Okay?
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just adding 16 to this.
Lambrick and Thois are going full Pokemon trainer on this thing. Like summoning.
Those are terrible rolls. Okay, so it's 13 + 16, so it's a 29 points of damage. And then they make, then how did the con save go?
For a purple worm,
Pretty good.
he's gonna be okay.
I knew a worm once. He got split in half. Now he has 2 half brothers. Are so constituted.
Here's the deal. Before we do that con save, is that going to be the end of your turn?
Yes, that's going to be the end of my turn.
Okay. This thing is making a con save anyway, because there is so much going on that this thing is going to try to throw you up. It already does not like what's going on. It regrets its decision for letting you walk inside. However, I have a lair action. As this is happening, the worm starts burrowing 30 feet down. So, Leon, you see as this thing with its mouth clammed shut, almost at like a right angle, which completely just makes the neck of this thing like turn it, like when you do this with your skin, like how it, that's how it looks right now. It does not look happy.
Oh, I hate this.
It just starts burrowing 30 feet down, and it is making a con save at the same time. So hopefully, while it is in the middle of burrowing, you guys do not get thrown up and crushed.
I want to use one of my portent rolls
to
give out in replace of whatever its con save is.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a nat 1.
Okay. All right.
Projectile vomit.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're being.
Yeah.
It's like when you spit into the winds,
Yeah. So, you know what, though? That was brave, man. To use your nat 1 on this, I will say the DC is low, but this thing has a +11. So, I need everybody, just give me a dex save, and we'll see what happens.
Don't forget to add 5 to your dex save.
Yeah.
Don't like this. I don't like this.
It doesn't matter.
I wouldn't get the benefit of that +5 though, because I'm outside the
I
way.
don't think you.
Okay.
Oh, you wouldn't. Yeah, you
No,
wouldn't.
yeah. I got a 22, so I think I'm still good.
Okay.
I rolled a 19
Okay.
with all bonuses considered. You said +5, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
+5.
Okay, so 19.
I got an 18.
Okay.
I
Zoe.
don't-
9.
Oof.
I had a
Okay.
4 plus 5.
Okay.
26.
Dang.
All right. I will say this. Zoe, as this thing, it ends up doing more of a bleh to get you guys out of its mouth. Your leg, as it is trying to throw you up, your leg gets caught in that hole where the centipedes are attacking, where that tooth is now missing. Your foot is sideways, your hip is pulled out of place for a moment as you just kind of flatten against the side of this worm as it starts to dig. And at the last second, you're able to roll out of the way as this thing starts to burrow in a donut to come back around to meet you guys. But you take 21 points of damage, please.
Oof, doof.
So, not as bad as it could have been,
It's
but
true.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, I had to make a save for the elemental.
Oh, yes, you do.
I didn't even think about that.
And I will say, no, we're not doing anything special for your dragon. Your dragon's fine.
Oh, thank
For
goodness.
Don't like that.
Dex. Does the elemental also get the bonus?
I don't know.
The +5, Damien?
How many folks does that affect?
Yes, it'll be anybody that's 10 feet around me as long as
Okay.
they're friendly.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, that's a 20 then.
Okay.
So, cool.
All right, everybody's fine but Thoe. Okay. So, Lofus,
Hi,
what are you
glad you're
doing
here.
now that this thing is mid donut
All right,
coming
so
back around? Mm-hmm.
we're no longer inside of it. It's still coming this way. How close is
Correct.
it to me? Like,
I mean, you were maybe like rolled like 15 feet outside of its mouth, so you're right close to the chasm that it's created.
okay.
So don't move forward.
Okay.
Maybe.
So there's no way I can physically attack it since it's
It is actively moving and crushing the rocks. Like this, that hole is getting bigger by the minute. Because this
Okay.
thing has like a spiked spine. It is actively like digging, eating the rocks that it's circling around. The whole cave is shaking.
All right. So what I want to do is, let me see. I believe it is this here. I will cast. Where is it? Guardian of Faith,
Okay.
which is a 4th level spell. I'm gonna create practically right in front of me a spirit, essentially. Think of it like a holy hammer, and it has a 30-foot reach. Anything that enters into that reach there, will have to make a dexterity saving throw, and if it does not succeed, it takes 20 radiant damage. It takes half as much on a save.
Okay.
So that'll be that, and then I will move over. Let me see. I'll move over and I'll stand pretty much to defend Chloe, and that'll be
Okay.
my turn.
Did you say I don't have to make a save now then?
No, only when they enter within that range. Then.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So, Leon, you're last in the lineup, buddy. What are you doing?
Well, welcome
You
to
saw
the
all
outside.
this happen.
Welcome to the outside, gang. And you acknowledge Jekyll's alternate form. Oh, good to see you again. I know. Just axe good, yes.
Axe good.
Good. I assume. So I see it coming around, yeah. Or is it still in the ground? Cool. I've got a crossbow, and I've got radiant damage on those arrows. I'm going to take a couple
Okay.
pot shots at it, see if I can't hit an eyeball or what would be perceived as ocular.
You will see its tail right before you see its head. So its tail is almost to you. If you want to time it, you can try and hit its head. But
Sure, yeah, we'll give it a
it'll
swing.
depend on what. It'll depend. We'll see.
It depends. It real depends. So that I assume will require a hit roll, yes?
Yes, please. This time, yes.
Fantastic. Would a 25 hit his eye?
Yes, it would. That'll be just fine, actually.
Fantastic. So, for the first shots, that's 11 piercing damage, and because it's Crimson Righted, another 6 radiant damage.
All right. What's the total on that?
So it'd be 17 altogether.
Perfect. Okay.
And if he still looks like he's coming after me, I'm going to load a second bolt into the same place.
Yes, Chef
it's just
Chef Death wanted to remind you, you also get that reroll, Moz, if you need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
So for the second shots, will a 20 hit?
20 will hit.
Same thing. So that is 11 piercing again, and then another d8 of the radiant. That one's only 2 radiant, so a total of 13.
Okay. This thing is starting to look a little bit battered. The area in which it is spinning is becoming very wet with this purple, gushy, not quite blood, but it's definitely coming out of this thing. So this thing uses the rest of its movement to spin all the way around. And I would like to say, just because you did the most damage to it so far, Dr. Jackal, this thing is going to try and swallow you again.
Oh no.
Just you. So give me a dex save, please.
Can I purposely fail the save?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Jackal purposely fails the save. He just takes a running leap and just dives into this thing.
Very
Okay.
Drax the Impaler of you.
Yeah.
Perfect. This thing swallows,
Okay.
and you are now blinded and restrained.
Okay.
So on your next turn, you have to use it, and I have you can make a Constitution save for me.
Okay. Con save right now?
Your next turn.
Okay.
So if you want to now, I'm gonna say if you can roll a nat 20 right now, we'll see what happens. Just because you're already playing with fire, I'll throw a little luck in this.
For con? All right.
Sure.
Let's see.
5. Also, I believe the Guardian of Faith would trigger for the worm.
Okay. What kind of a save is that again, Damien?
Dex 20 save.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No nat 20 on that, but he is in it to win it.
All right. The worm has a -2. So the worm rolled a 17, even with a 19 on the dice.
Oof.
Yeah.
It just
Not
takes,
good at dex.
It takes 20 points of radiant damage.
Perfect. All right. So, as it is still spinning, it has just swallowed Dr. Jackal. It is going to swing its tail at, I'm going to say Thoe, because this thing is still really uncomfortable with all these darn centipedes that are in its mouth.
That's fair.
Understandable.
Yeah. So, go ahead, make me a dex save, Thoe.
Ooh, I've been so good at those so far. So, oh, and I'm staying just as good at them. 8.
Add 5.
Oh, I mean, my bad. 13.
This thing has a 14 to hit. So, unfortunately,
Yep.
all
Bring it.
right. So that is only 18 piercing damage for
Oh,
you.
that's it.
And then
Easy.
I also need a con save from you, please.
Okay. Oh, I'm equally good at those.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to use my reaction.
Okay.
Divine Allegiance.
Perfect.
Instead, I take all the damage. So I take 18.
Darn
instead.
it!
There goes my hero.
No! And I'll tell you why in a second. All
Get
right,
down, Mr.
Damien.
President.
You
Watch
can't.
him as he goes.
No, listen, because here's my problem, Damien. You're immune to poison, my guy.
I am immune to poison.
Darn it!
Wait, so I get to add that 18 back?
You get absolutely just jackhammered in the shoulder by the barb on the end of this thing's tail, but it doesn't. I mean, it hurts, but you don't take poison damage. So I'll say maybe it's just like a really bad shot. Take 5 piercing.
Well, and my con save there was a 20, actually,
Yeah.
for the second one.
Yeah, you just
So
take
it's a
half.
5? Okay.
So,
So it's 5? Or
yeah. But if he's
Okay.
taking your damage for you,
I take all the damage, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So is it
I don't have
18
any
plus
damage
5?
off that.
Nope, no damage for you, my friend. Darn it, Damien.
Good play,
All
man.
right, all right,
Big
Logan.
brain.
Great play.
There we go. Okay. So that is the worm's turn. Go ahead here. We are back around to Lamprecht. Go ahead, my friend.
All right. This worm relative to Princess, how many of my companions are, say, like within a 30-foot cone of the
All
worm?
of them.
God.
All of them. You guys, unless anybody has used any of their movement, you are within 15 feet of this thing.
Would
Fine.
Princess be able to move on her turn to like close it out and make sure that I figure the worm is big enough that Princess could get like really close to it and just unleash, right? Like, is there enough space for
Here's
that?
the problem. What kind of an attack are you using?
It's a breath weapon. Like, if I want to use Princess's breath weapon,
Okay.
and so if I'm trying to make sure that none of my allies get hit, so is it feasible for Princess to just get right up close to the worm and unleash the entire breath weapon into like the hide of the worm? Or
Princess is large. The worm is gargantuan. So I will
Sometimes.
say this. Princess needs to slow down the worm enough that she can get into its mouth, because I'll tell you why. The worm was only big on the inside. Your cavern that you came from, remember when I told you it was kind of small? So Princess cannot move enough to where this thing is just going to reverb back into all of the rest of your party members.
not even
At
with
least
like
a
the new
little bit.
corridors that the worm's made?
The worm is, if you guys are in a straight line, the worm is like this.
Oh, okay.
Against that straight line. So you guys can't move forward in that straight line.
Oh,
Because you just walked into it straight. So I'll tell you this. If you want to give me a strength, an opposed strength check with this worm and Princess, I will let you try to slow it down enough that Princess can aim into that hole in its mouth.
Yeah, I'll take those
But
odds.
if you fail, you'll take a little bit of damage.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
You've
All
hit
right.
Womp Rats bigger than this on your T60 back home. This is fine.
Yep. Alrighty, buddy. Go ahead.
Let's roll those die. That's a 5.
Buddy.
All of that after all of.
Oh my god. I just want to give you my reroll right now.
Wow. What's your mod for strength?
+3. I rolled a 2.
Yep. Hi, Neil. Just saying hi, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
I like your emojis.
Hey, Neil.
They're purple like the worm we're fighting right now. How's it going? Alrighty. Worm has +9, my guy. Literally
That sounds about
cannot
right.
lose against you. I'm so sorry.
Fair enough.
Just go ahead and take some carpet burn damage for Princess for me. We'll do about probably. Let me roll this actually. That way it's fair. 14 carpet burn damage, my
Let's-
friend,
Oh.
against Princess. And I would
That's
say she loses a couple of scales in the process.
Princess, no!
I'm so sorry.
No, worm is in giant worm, not dragon worm.
Purple
Neil.
worm. Yeah.
You said 14?
14 damage. Yes, sir.
Dang.
All right.
right.
And what is
well,
our
that-
elemental doing? What are we doing?
So does that knock me off, Princess? Too, I would assume.
It does.
All right.
mhm.
So would
will
I also
say-
take 14 damage?
Not you, just Princess. I'm
Princess?
assuming she was stopping it with like her claws. It probably just gave her a good nail file.
Okay.
You, as a free action, I'll let you get back on, though, if you want to. That's fine. You're within feet.
No. Yeah. Okay. Gonna mount back up for free.
Okay.
And then I still have my action 2. It's still
Yes.
technically my turn, right?
And your elemental hasn't gone either.
Okay. So
That was all the dragon?
that was supposed to happen after my turn. Essentially,
Got
it was
you.
supposed to be that, but I was asking a question.
You
And-
guys, I'm considering you all won an initiative, so whichever
fair.
you feel like doing first.
So you know what? Favorite foe. It's upon a section. Never mind. Okay. I am going to use my 3rd level spell slot to.
Okay.
Oh, dagnammit. Those are both concentration spells. Never mind. I'm just going to. I can't concentrate on the elemental and that. I'm just gonna take some pot shots.
Sick.
So that is a 28 with the longbow for my first attack.
Go for it.
That is 10 piercing damage.
All right.
And then I'll draw another arrow from my quiver and take another shot, and that is a 25.
That'll hit.
All right. That's 11 piercing damage.
Sweet.
And then Lambrecht will instruct the elemental to take its turn, and it's just gonna try and slam up against the hide of the worm. So, elemental. I have so many mini character sheets I'm keeping track of right now. This is such a bad idea. I don't
love
know why
this
I
for
did this.
you. I love it for you.
Hey,
Hey, it's practice for the worst thing. This is.
I rolled the damage and not the hit, like a dingus.
Nah.
So hit 1d2. It doesn't even. Where is it? Where is it? All right. Well, I'm just gonna roll for it then. That first one's gonna miss.
What was it?
It was a 3 plus 5,
Okay.
8, and this is a 19.
That'll hit.
All right. So now I will roll damage, and that's 7 fire damage. Oh, dang it! So much stuff to keep track of. I gotta remember that. I gotta remember to add Princess's elemental damage next time. No one let me forget. But
Listen.
yeah, that's the turn.
That completes it.
Yeah,
You
that's it.
may not have used all of your damage, but this thing is going to try to spit up the doctor because it does not feel well. And unfortunately, I will say, where you hit this thing, everyone's slashes, everybody's arrows so far, they have all hit relatively the same section of this worm. So it is cut in half. It can no longer spin. It can still use its mouth, but its tail weapon is gone. That sucker is just lost in that hole that it made. It is not looking good. So go ahead. Let me roll this here. We'll see if it spits you up, Doc.
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
Oops. Yep, that's a nat 1. All right. So you
Cool.
are back outside of the worm.
Question:
friend.
do I feel him
Yeah.
like kind of throwing me up?
Yeah. this
We're
thing's
going
like-
rule of cool, right?
Yeah.
Would you allow an athletics check so that I can grab inside of it when it tries to throw me up and basically turn this thing inside out like a reversible bag?
Because it's cut in half. And
Because
you now
it's
have
cut in
the-
half, I just want to grab a hold of it and it goes. Whoop, I just want this thing like here's the head, just like split, like
Here's what I'll say.
God.
You are in the lower half. logistically, you are in the butt half.
Yep.
So when you are being thrown up, you go through the first half.
Yep.
You are going to pull the outside of this thing through its mouth.
Through
if
its
you
mouth.
succeed.
I want to choke it with its own butt.
Sweet. Zoe, I am so sorry to say your centipedes are about to get crushed to bits. Give me... I don't even need opposed strength. I have a DC in my head.
Athletics?
Give me that's fine. Whichever strength you want to use, whatever your best one is.
Okay. Here's the first one. And he's raging, so these are at advantage. So we're going to go with a 25 athletics check as he just grabs a hold of both sides and basically drags the bottom half of it through the front half of it.
I will say, so here's what happens, right? Gosh darn it. All right. Dr. Jackal, here's what happens, okay? You somehow muster up the ability to dislocate both of your shoulders so that you can extend your arms extra wide.
Absolutely.
To grab this thing's ends 10 feet across, right? And you just use the momentum of this thing throwing you up, the momentum of your legs taking off from the debris it has swallowed, going in this donut, trying to swallow everyone. And everybody just sees as this thing, as you pull its butt through its mouth, or its midsection through its mouth, I should say, everybody on the other side of this thing, you are just covered in purple goo. As the sides of this thing just collapse in on themselves. Everybody's covered in goo. Yeah. This thing is toast. This thing is toast.
Other things at work.
Congrats.
Dr. Jacko will pull this through, look at everyone covered in goo, turn back and look at it, turn back and big ol' smile with gore dripping off of his face, and be like, butthead.
Oh, I get it.
Right.
Lambricht is currently thinking back to his conversation with Leon about about the doctor being a bit posh, and then Leon being like, well, you should, test him on it, and is so glad he did not, because he likes where his butt is.
God.
Zoe is collecting a sample of the slime and doing a quick sketch of the worm in her book. Yes.
I will say you don't even have to use anything for that. You can probably, I assume Zoe would have grabbed a couple of spare bottles from that first room you were in.
Oh, sure. And
so
she's got
even
her little bag of sample stuff that, okay.
Sure. You probably were able to grab a good size bit of this stuff. I'll just say a half gallon just for fun.
Oh, sure. Why not?
I mean, it's a lot of slime. No activator needed. All right. Leon, as everybody is panting, trying to take this stuff off of their armor, off of their skin, it reeks of death and decay in here. Yeah. All of the mushrooms on the wall seem to be fading and illuminating a lot slower than they were before, almost like they're unhappy with this scene. And in your head, you hear a voice.
Oh, thank God, another one.
Leon, you hear from behind you, here it comes!
Oh, no.
As Thunderwing peeks out from Lamprecht's jacket, or whatever you're wearing on the top, I apologize. As you hear in your head, ow, you're here. Brilliant!
Guys, this is another one in my head again.
And that's where we're going to end our session.
Oh, God.
Hey. Before we end, I use prestidigitation and I clean myself off. Ugh.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll say you can do that for everybody, free of charge.
Don't do it to Dr. Jackal. He refuses.
I refuse to touch you for that.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Alrighty, guys. Well, chat, thank you for having us. Indigo Chameleon, thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
We'll be back at this next week. They have just touched the surface of what the heck is in these caves.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Perfect, guys. Thank you for your participation. Come with good rolls next week as well. All right, and I think we'll do hard hands out, right?
Hard hands out.
Bye, everybody.
And
Bye.